Man, timeshares. Remember those? It's like the mullet of vacation ownership, business in the front, party in the back of your bank account getting drained. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door, swore he was going to retire on dirt futures, whatever the hell that was. Anyway, timeshares. Thought Airbnb killed him. But then I started thinking Airbnb is just a timeshare with extra steps, right? You're sharing somebody's time and probably their questionable hygiene habits. Let me tell you, I ain't trusting no stranger's loofah. That's where the swamp creatures breed. I'm telling you. Speaking of swamps, used to stay in these budget motels back in Louisiana. Felt like I needed a tetanus shot just looking at them. But hey, 60 bucks, and at least I knew the roaches were paying rent just like me. Now, Airbnbs, they want you filling out forms like you applying for a goddamn mortgage, then they got signs everywhere. Don't flush the toilet paper, pet the cat, but not too much. It's like taking a pop quiz on somebody else's weird life. Went on vacation once, end of December, first one in years, felt like a damn alien. Stayed at a resort, though. No way I'm trusting Brenda from Des Moines with my vacation serenity. Hotels impersonal. Hell yeah, that's the point. I want anonymity, not a family photo album staring at me while I'm trying to unwind. Imagine getting intimate in an Airbnb surrounded by pictures of strangers skiing in Tahoe. Talk about a mood killer. It's like getting blue-balled by a stock photo. Tried the Airbnb thing once. Peak pandemic, figured I'd live large in Phoenix, rent a mansion with a basketball court and a pool. Baller status baby, but the gig got canceled, only got half my money back. Felt like I got scammed by the Monopoly man. Man, growing up in Loranger, Louisiana, felt like living inside a dryer lint trap. You know, just constant spinning, static, and the occasional lost sock of sanity. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl thought he saw Bigfoot near the Piggly Wiggly. Turned out it was just a meth head wearing a gorilla suit. He stole from the Halloween store, but that's small town life. Things get real strange real quick. It's like Earl would have been a perfect witness on that show on A&E where they chase down killers in the first 2 days after a murder, because after that, apparently, the case gets colder than my ex-wife's heart. They're like, it's old news now, which is wild, because you'd think solving a murder would be a little more important than figuring out what's on the dollar menu. I'm fascinated by how many folks see a murder happen. Like, I always pictured murders happening in the shadows, behind a dumpster, but these people are front row seats. Like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. He was about 5'2" to 6'8", something like that. And the cops are like, that's the best you got? And they're like, he had ears too. And they still draw a sketch, and it looks like a Picasso painting gone wrong. Then they show it around, and nobody knows who it is. Until some dude is like, yeah, that's Cricket. Been knowing Cricket for 27 years. And the cops are like, what's his real name? And the guy is all, just Cricket, like he was birthed with that name. I swear, it's always some dude in a wife beater, dirty hat, cigarette, hanging out his mouth. Looks 33, but is actually 76, talking super aggressive to the cops. I've been out here for a minute, and the cops just sigh. Then they cut to the whitest detective, who looks like he just walked out of a Ale Bean catalog. And was like, I don't think he's going to be much help. Like he expected Shakespeare from a guy named Cricket. The best part of that show, though, is the interrogation. It's like you want drama. Try questioning someone about taking another human life. The stakes are higher than a giraffe on stilts. But these detectives, bless their hearts, insist on using the suspect's street name, so it turns into a cartoon. They're like, your life's on the line, Lil Stank. Did you know Dookie Shoes? And the guy's like, I don't know no Dookie Shoes. Then they show him a picture, and he's all, I seen him around. And then they throw one little piece of evidence at him, like Numin said, you were at the 7-Eleven last week. And suddenly he's confessing to everything. Yeah, I shot him in the face like a damn pressure cooker. It's like, dude, you can't lie for 10 minutes. You can kill a man, but you can't outsmart a detective for a coffee break's worth of time. That's why if you're ever in that situation, lawyer up, man. Don't try to be a hero, because I've seen 300 people get interrogated on that show, and only 2 asked for a lawyer. And both times the detectives looked like they'd just been handed a flat tire, and at the end of the episode, there was text on the screen that read, all charges against Tayshaun were dropped, or let's be real, there's never any Jims on that show. Ain't never heard no detective go, hey, Bryce, where were you last Friday? I was over at Tanner's house. Sorry, bro. Nah, man, it's always someone with a name that sounds like it came straight out of a Wu-Tang Clan album. All the Bryces are out there baking cookies and not ending up on A&E. Man, Montreal, y'all are all right. Reminds me of Shrimping back in Tickfall, Louisiana, where the only thing louder than the mosquitoes was my Aunt Shirley and Aunt Uncle Dale for drinking all the RC Cola again, you know. That woman's voice could peel paint off a barn from 50 yards. That's the thing about women, ain't it? Up close, whispering sweet nothings could launch 1,000 ships, but try hearing him at a football game. Sounds like two squirrels fighting over a dropped pickle. Now that brings me to this whole first lady business. See, my grandma used to say, a chicken ain't got no business in the hen house if it ain't laying no eggs. And I'm thinking these first ladies, bless their hearts, they ain't elected, they ain't paying the bills. So why they gotta be running their mouths like a hound dog chasing a mail truck? Like, if you hire a fella to fix your leaky faucet, and his wife, who ain't never held a wrench in her life, starts telling him to reroute the pipes through the attic, you gonna look at her sideways, right? Just 'cause you're married to the plumber don't make you a plumber. Now I'm hearing whispers about Hillary getting back in the game and scratching my head. How'd she become a senator anyway? Went straight from being the president's missus to sitting in Congress. Like she jumped the line at the crawfish boil. Should Tom Brady's wife be calling the plays for the Rams just 'cause she married a football player? Ain't no magic powers transferred through matrimony. This all started with Nancy Reagan, bless her soul, waving her bony finger and telling us to just say no, like we was all just waiting for permission to quit huffing paint thinner. Than Hillary with her health care plan. Michelle preaching on 60 Minutes, gotta give it to the Bushes though, they kept their women in line. Barbara was silent as a church mouse, and the other one, Paige or Bethany, something like that, I ain't even sure of her name, but Dub had her on lockdown tighter than Fort Knox, made sure she smiled and nodded when he told a joke. Now I'm hearing folks say a woman president's gonna change things, but I ain't buying it. The president makes, what, 400 grand a year? Try telling that to a Wall Street banker with $100 million bonus. Ain't gonna make a lick of difference if they got a dick or a clam, black or white. Nothing's gonna change till somebody gets froggy and starts going full Rambo on those gated communities, taking out the folks pulling the strings. Until then, it's just gonna be a different pair of tits telling us the same old song and dance. I'm staying at a hotel here. Love hotels, feel safe, you know, lobby full of folks like a human shield if some axe murderer comes strolling. Hear the scream, got time to plan, barricade the door, turn on the shower, hide between the mattresses. Good old misdirection, used to stay in motels, now there's a recipe for a heart attack. Sleeping 2 feet from a door leading straight to the parking lot, any yahoo can kick it open, drag you out buck naked. Ain't nothing scarier than facing a chainsaw massacre in your underpants. You tell yourself you'll fight back, grab a lamp. But deep down, you know you'll just squeak like a chew toy and end up seeing nothing but carpet ceiling, looking back at your own pasty body anyway. This theater's alright. At least nobody said it's haunted. Every damn time you go to a theater, they gotta tell you about the ghost. Built-in 48 tribute to Rocket Richard. And we got a ghost named Michael. If you believe in ghosts past the age of 8, you're dumber than a box of rock. What's the end game for a ghost anyway? On a basement forever, waiting to spook the boiler repairman? If I was a ghost, I'd fly straight to the CIA headquarters. Sit in on meetings, go to the Super Bowl, find out what they're really saying in the HUD, and spend an eternity trying to scare an accountant into solving my murder. I'd be looking for that damn RC Cola. That's where the real secrets are. Man, I was just down at the Piggly Wiggly the other day, right? And this fella, bless his heart, he's trying to return a watermelon. Says it didn't taste like nothing. Like, what you expect? Sunshine, a symphony in your mouth. Anyways, it got me thinking, like, this whole putting yourself out there thing, you know? Like when I first started doing that weird voice for Digman, that Nick Cage meets psychopath. I don't even think Nick Cage knows he's the muse. He's probably too busy wrestling alligators or something. He ain't watching Comedy Central, probably busy building pyramids out of his old scripts. But seriously, South Park's right before us, and those fans are die-hard. Been watching longer than my grandma's been making sweet tea, which is saying something. So all I'm asking is y'all just leave the TV on, all right? Let Digman play in the background. Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, population smaller than a Walmart on Black Friday, we had this neighbor, Cletus. Now, Cletus, bless his heart, thought squirrels were just rats with better PR, and he swore he could communicate with them using only kazoo music and moonshine fumes, which, looking back, might explain a lot about Cletus's life choices, like the time he tried to ride a gator into town, claiming it was his Uber anyway. That whole Cletus situation reminds me of this article I read the other day about how AI is supposed to be like revolutionizing customer service, right? Promising us these seamless, efficient, emotionally intelligent interactions like a customer service rep that never sleeps, never gets hangry, and never needs a bathroom break. Unlike my Aunt Shirley after a potluck, which can get dicey, but then you actually use these AI chatbots, and it's like talking to Cletus after he's had a bit too much of that squirrel whisperer juice. You ask a simple question like, where's my package? And it responds with something completely off the wall, like the meaning of life is 42, but have you considered the existential dread of being a digital assistant? I swear I asked one chatbot about my phone bill and it started reciting Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare is all well and good. I like a good sonnet as much as the next fella, but I just needed to know why I was being charged for data roaming when I was sitting in my own darn living room. But these chatbots, they're just going on about to be or not to be, and I'm like, to be connected to Wi-Fi or not to be? That is the question. Now answer me, you digital Cletus. And it's supposed to be getting better, but it's like teaching that gator to drive. You might get it to move forward eventually, but you're going to have a lot of fender benders and a few folks ending up in the bayou. And I'm just sitting here thinking, we're putting so much faith in these artificial brains, hoping they'll solve all our problems, when sometimes you just need a real human being, even if they smell like biscuits, and met their spouse on Ancestry Mingle. At least they'll understand the question, where's my damn package? Without launching into a soliloquy about the fleeting nature of existence. It's like that time Cletus tried to teach his parrot to say, I love you, and it only learned to mimic the sound of a rusty chainsaw. You get the technology, but you lose the soul. Come to think of it, is probably what happened to my Aunt Shirley after that last potluck. All right. Settle down now, you beautiful bunch of weirdos. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau. God rest his soul. Looked like a thumb with eyebrows, I swear. This man, he only ate mayonnaise sandwiches every single day. Mayonnaise. Just mayonnaise. I asked him once, Mr. Thibodeau, why are you living like this? You a human being, not a condiment factory. He just smiled, this little thumb man, and said, Theo, boy, you got to simplify. Life's complicated enough. Don't be adding no jelly to the equation. And that stuck with me like kudzu on a rusted out Ford pickup, you know? Simplify. Which brings you to, well, everything really. See, people are out here complexifying everything. Take data privacy, for instance. Seems simple, right? Keep your stuff safe. Don't let the lizard people in Silicon Valley sell your grocery list to the Russians. But no, it's all algorithms and encryption and GDPR. Sounds like a disease you get from kissing a swamp creature. It's like they took Mr. Thibodeau's mayonnaise sandwich and turned it into a 7-course meal with foam and microgreens. Nobody even knows what they're eating anymore. So we got these companies, it's collecting all this information. Every time you like a cat video, every time you Google how to remove a tick, they're tracking it, building a profile. It's like they're trying to build a perfect replica of your brain, but with more ads for foot fungus cream. And they say, oh, it's for a better user experience. Sure it is, just like when your grandma says she's pinching your cheeks because she loves you, but, you know, she's just checking to see if you got enough meat on your bones. And then there's the government. They want to get in on the action, too, keeping us safe from terrorists, ninjas, the Amish mafia. Who knows? But the point is, everybody wants your data, and nobody's asking if you even want to share it. That's like showing up at a potluck with only a Tupperware full of your dirty laundry. Nobody asked for that, Brenda. So what do? Do we just throw our hands up and say, fine, take my soul?
Amazon.
So I'm already wearing your underwear anyway. No, that ain't the Cajun way. We got to be like that gator in the bayou, looking all slow and sleepy, but ready to snap your hand off if you get too close. We got to demand transparency, know what they're collecting, how they're using it, and have the right to say, hold up, partner, that's my brain you're messing with. And it ain't got nothing you need unless you're looking for directions to the nearest crawfish boil. Because at the end of the day, your data is your data, just like your mayonnaise sandwich is your mayonnaise sandwich. Unless Mr. Thibodeau comes along and asks for a bite, then you just got to share because he might be a thumb with eyebrows, but he's still your neighbor, and that's just how we do these in Louisiana. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small. The high school mascot was a question mark. Seriously, just a big old question mark on the field. People were confused. Even the cheerleaders were like, what are we cheering for? Uncertainty. It reminds me of this time my buddy Earl, bless his heart, tried to impress this girl by saying he was film Wedding Ring or two before the first one even hit theaters. Like telling people you already got a platinum membership to Beyonce's Beehive plus a +1 with Lamar Odom. Back when he was still rocking princess cut she jeans, which by the way is a crime against fashion, worse than Floyd Mayweather and them damn cowboy boots. Somebody lock that man up. Stylist needs to be fired or 2 Chainz showing up to court in a suit. Some things are just inherently wrong, like my Aunt Brenda's attempt to get on a reality show called Straight from the Heart. Pushing past me like a damn offensive lineman to get in front of the camera, saying hi from the heart while I'm trying to explain the earth is not flat. But somehow Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for too much skin is somehow supposed to be acceptable. That's like banishing Waffle House from World Star Hip Hop. Ruins the whole damn site, but honestly, I'd pay $1 million just to see her. Well, again, for the first time, but also knowing it's still Rihanna. So that brings me back to these co-stars I've been working with over the years. All of them except The Rock, that is, and The Rock hasn't helped one damn bit. Stevie, I'm looking at you. You ain't gonna help nobody except the inmates, Stevie. What is wrong with you? You look like you shop at the velvet sweatsuit store next door to Nacho Dick Emporium. And I swear to God, they are all just as ridiculous as waiting 45 minutes for a sandwich from Quiznos. Just needs more dreamers, and definitely not Will Packer sitting beside me at award shows. Fifth black dude in a row. I think they have a row of just like all the black folks just chilling there, and Amy Schumer is just getting it thrown in her face, which I'm okay with, and then Whoopi Goldberg just goes on The View and says some wild-ish shit. I can't even I gotta shave again because of all the stupid that's going on, and then some guy is throwing me off while I'm about to rip on this stage in camouflage. He thinks his petite jacket is gonna save him. Maybe I don't have a college degree, but I got a yacht. Well, I will have a yacht. It's on credit. I'm just saying, I thought I looked cooler in a suit, and now I feel like I look like a head in a box, so I look like a guy with a head, so I don't know. Maybe I should dress like my friend Earl. Man, back in Shreveport, we had this drinking crew, real deal redneck poetry slam. Me, Mark, Sam, and this dude Soder, who looked like if a scarecrow and a golden retriever had a baby. And then there was Nate, bless his heart. Nate could only book gigs at this place near Broadway, like the armpit of the New York comedy scene. They call it the world, like a Walmart greeter directing you to enlightenment, and he'd be doing unpaid sets at 11 p.m. while they're charging cover. This is like prehistoric comedy days, like finding a fossilized microphone. And this is before Soder was selling out stadiums. Wild, right? Anyway, the world was basically the Broadway comedy club's ugly stepsister. Like they'd be advertising Dave Chappelle's here tonight, knowing full well Dave was probably at home eating a gourmet grilled cheese. And one time I swear they tried to pitch me Tina Fey was going to do stand-up. Like, who are you trying to fool? You think she just ditches 30 Rock for this? And the mural on the wall was like a fever dream painted by someone on Bad Shrimp. But the real kicker, they served fake alcohol, like the kind made from corn syrup they sell near schools, because they don't have a real liquor license. It's like trying to get drunk off communion wine, which, thinking about it, is probably worse. And it was 12% strength. Order a vodka tonic and you're basically getting a grape soda with a buzz. I even got spat on at that joint, like full-on loogie warfare. I was roasting this dude in the front row, felt like I was talking to a donkey, and he just lets loose right on my chest. But bless those sassy Hispanic waitresses, they jumped in front of me like I was El Chapo. They were ready to throw down. And Chris Murphy, the man's a saint. He walked me out like I was fragile, said he's waiting for you, pal. And the first threesome I ever had was a direct result of getting spat on, though. 2 girls in Philly saw what happened, said, screw that guy. Come on, let's go drink. So we went out drinking, had a threesome. The details aren't fit for conversation, but you get the idea. It was a different kind of spitting story, let's just say. And my cousin, he's a simple guy. He says, you left with those 2 chicks? I said, yeah. And he says, I gotta start getting spat on more often. That's when you know you had a good night. When even getting assaulted turns into a win, like finding a $20 bill in your old jeans, only it's covered in saliva and questionable life choices. All right. How we doing tonight? Y'all good? You look good. Even you in the back with that thing you call a shirt. Bless your heart. Reminds me of my cousin Dale. Bless his soul. Always wore shirts, 2 sizes too small. Said he kept his power source contained. Dale was a plumber. And by power source, I think he meant his beer gut and the methane factory behind it. Anyway, Dale also loved those true crime shows, the ones about guys who, well, let's just say their power source was pointed in a different direction, It's wild, right? These ladies out are glued to these shows about dudes doing unspeakable things that make a honey badger blush, but then you'll go walk alone in the dark listening to true crime podcasts like you're researching your own demise. It's like watching a documentary about bear attacks and then going camping with nothing but a harmonica. In a dream. Now, I saw one of them shows about a guy terrorizing joggers at dawn, and I haven't jogged since. I'm talking flat out retired from the whole dang exercise scene. You try to get me on a treadmill now, I'll look at you like you just asked me to wrestle a gator in my underwear. It's all bench press and protect the posterior from here on out, boys. Don't forget that rowing machine. That's just begging for trouble. Out there looking all vulnerable. Can you imagine the headline? Theo, renowned intellectual and connoisseur of gas station sushi, assaulted on rowing machine. No, sir, not on my watch. Ah, you bet your sweet bippy if some creep's chasing me in the park, stark naked and fueled by pure malice. I'm not just jogging, I'm entering the dang Olympics. Usain Bolt levels of speed, high knees and all. That's right, Schultz wasn't jogging in the park at night, son. He was auditioning for the Fast and the Furious with 7. Man, I swear, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana was like living inside a fortune cookie written by a squirrel on meth. Remember old man Bergeron who swore he could predict the weather by smelling his elbow? Yeah, well, he also tried to teach me how to hypnotize chickens. Said it was the key to getting rich. Turns out all it got me was a peck in the eyeball and a healthy respect for poultry's ability to resist mind control. Which brings me to this mortgage lender I met at the VFW last night. Looked like he just stepped off the set of Downton Abbey after a particularly rough shrimp boil. Kept saying I as well after every sentence, like he was narrating his own impending doom. And let me tell you, the man needed a drink like a catfish needs a crawdad. Kept slurring about another collapse of our time and how plaid shirts were the only thing holding society together. Made me think, maybe Bergeron was on to something with those chickens. Maybe they knew the whole damn system was about to go belly up and they were just refusing to cooperate. Maybe that's why the economy's always on the verge of imploding, because we got a bunch of folks making decisions who'd rather be slapping the table and talking about I as well, instead, figuring out how not to bankrupt the whole damn country. So yeah, maybe the next time you're looking for financial advice, skip the banker and go find a chicken. At least you'll get an egg out of the deal. Man, Spokane, it's something. Ain't it? Reminds me of my cousin, Earl, back in Tickfaw, Louisiana. Earl was so slow, bless his heart, he thought a quarterback was just a fancy word for a homeless fella sleeping in a football stadium. But Earl, he had heart just like this crowd here tonight. Y'all are sticking with me, even though I feel like I'm wrangling a herd of feral cats up here. I swear I went for a run earlier trying to clear my head. Ended up near the bus station, which, let me tell you, is like a meth convention with pigeons. Got my cardio in dodging folks higher than giraffe butts. And this table here, they're giving me the stink eye like I just served them a plate of roadkill possum. I saw them shaking their heads like 9 times. I got a sixth sense for that kind of thing. Maybe they didn't Google, which is my favorite. People show up thinking I'm going to be all Mr. Rogers in a sweater, then bam, dead baby jokes galore. And they're all like, well, this ain't for us. Like they wandered into a cockfight by accident. Who does that? I ain't never gone to a movie blind. Like, whatever's planned. It'll be a spiritual experience. That's wild. And you brought your friends. Like, hey, y'all want to see this comedian I found under a rock? Now your friends are reconsidering the entire French, feeling like they've been dragged to a hog killing after prom night. I'm killing for maybe half this crowd, which statistically makes this the worst audience of the entire weekend. But hey, it's a holiday show. I'm getting paid that sweet, sweet holiday dough, so I can't complain too much. Spokane, bless your hearts. Y'all buy tickets, but then just stare at me like I'm explaining quantum physics to a chicken. You laugh at the pedophile joke, then you get all judgmental. It's a good joke, people. What do you want? For real? What were you expecting? You ain't the best audience member neither, pal, and this ain't even a good crowd, so you're officially the worst of the worst. Congrats. Your husband there, he probably hates that joke too, but I like him better than you, truth be told. I had more fun dodging needles and crazies at the bus station. At least that was a challenge, but honestly, at this point, watching me completely lose my mind on stage is better than the material. How often do you get to see a fella with a Netflix special completely unravel like a cheap sweater at a biker rally? That's something, ain't it? I'm genuinely shocked y'all are still here. I'm actually impressed. Makes me kind of proud. Kind of like watching a 3-legged dog try to win the Kentucky Derby. You ain't gonna win, but damn, you got heart. And sometimes that's all that matters, except maybe a bottle of whiskey and a good cry later tonight. Think I'll go see if Earl's free. Man, bikes, I don't know why, but sometimes I get these little verbal hiccups, not like Tourette's. I always thought that'd be kind of wild, just yelling out random stuff. Imagine the conversations, but nah, it's just bikes, plain old bikes. Just pops into my head like a bad country song, stuck on repeat, playing in the honky-tonk of my brain over and over, probably millions of times by now. But see, it all comes back to this one show, Scared Straight. You ever catch that train wreck? Pure gold. Let me tell you, they grab these little hellions, middle and high schoolers, the ones who think detention is a 5-star resort, and they toss them into the slammer for a day. hoping a little taste of the big house will straighten their twisted little minds. Like a backwoods chiropractor, but hold on to your britches. 'Cause there's this one episode back in 99, uncensored, which is just straight up bananas. And instead of your run-of-the-mill county jail, they ship these little demons off to a maximum security penitentiary where the inmates just verbally unleash hell on these kids, turning them into weepy little puddles, and it's the darn funniest thing I've ever seen. Now don't go feeling too sorry for them. These ain't your average spitball shooting choir boys. These are kids who think shanks are just fancy toothpicks. Tough little bastards, walking in with all the swagger of a rooster in a henhouse, like, what's up? I ain't scared, but then comes crazy Chris, face looking like a roadmap of bad decisions. And the screen freezes. Tells you Chris has off 6 folks and is doing double life. This dude's so bad. When he dies, his next life is doing time too. And Chris gets up in their grill, says, "You'll see me in your nightmares." And these kids, barely teenagers, are like, "Whoa, dude, chill." But he ain't done. He says, "If I see you again, I'll take a bite out of each of you." And they're practically signing up for Sunday school right then and there. But then comes the next guy, walks up and says, "Hold my pocket." Makes him walk around holding me inside of his pocket. Now, I don't know what you know about prison, but holding another dude's pocket is like wearing a neon sign that says, "Kick me." And this ain't just about the pocket hold. He's spouting the most ungodly things at these kids. Talking about breakfast and stuff you can't say on TV, like he's running a twisted Lil Abner comic strip in their heads. There's this one kid, all of 13, looking like a dandelion in a hurricane. Bowl cut parted right down the middle like a dirt road. And this prisoner asks him why he's there. And the kid mumbles, "Stealing." And the prisoner leans in, all menacing, "The fuck you took." And the kid squeaks out, "Bikes." And the prisoner just booms, "Bikes," and that's it. That's why I yell bikes. See a bike store, holy moly, it's like a primal scream therapy session in my Honda. My wife's about had it. She just sighs and says, "You get one." So I gotta make it count. I pull over, roll down the window, wait for some poor soul to be checking out the sidewalk display, gazing at some shiny new Schwinn. And when they find the one, the light hits it just right, they're about to make a move. I unleash the beast, bite, I yell, and they jump back like they seen a ghost. Then I add for good measure, "Stop selling drugs," and I peel out of there, leaving them standing there, wondering if they just stepped into some kind of backwoods fever dream. Kinda like this whole story, ain't it? All right, on the way. What up? Let up. Let me tell you something. I was driving here from the airport, right? And I saw this bumper sticker, "Keep the country, country." And I thought, damn, that's like me trying to keep Theo, you know? Like, good luck with that, buddy. I'm a runaway train of weirdness, always have been. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale back in Louisiana, bless his heart. That man thought he was a squirrel, not like a metaphorical squirrel, like legit burying nuts in the backyard, chattering at dogs. We tried to tell him, "Uncle Dale, you're a 6'2" plumber, not a rodent." But he'd just stare at you, twitch his nose, and scamper up a pecan tree. Now, hear me out. This ain't about squirrels, although maybe it is. It's about locals, right? Like, what is a local anyway? Is it about birth certificates? Is it about speaking pidgin so good you can order a shave ice blindfolded? Or is it about something deeper, like having the mana, the aloha spirit, the thing that makes you not want to punch a tourist in the face when they ask you where they can find the authentic Hawaiian experience? See, I think it's kind of like my Uncle Dale. He wasn't born a squirrel, but damn it, he became one. He embodied the squirrelness, you know? He lived the squirrel life, and maybe, just maybe, that's what being a local is all about. You don't got to be born here, but you got to become Hawaii. You got to respect the land, the people, the culture, the pineapples that allegedly make your jizz taste like sunshine. And if you can do that, if you can embrace the weirdness, the beauty, the keep the country vibe, well, then you just might earn your place in the Ohana, even if you still can't pronounce Helma Hamuna Kunuko Pua. And if you can't, well, just blame it on the Micronesians. They'll understand. I'm just kidding. Micronesians, I love y'all. You're the reason I'm not the most hated guy on the island. That's a precious, precious gift. Thank you, Jesus. Man, I swear, Growing up in Louisiana, we had this bathtub, right? Avocado green. Looked like Shrek's armpit. And it was slipperier than a politician's promise. So time I'm in there just trying to exfoliate like a damn influencer, and bam, down I go. Like a sack of potatoes. But here's the kicker. My cousin, bless her heart, she's in there too, thinking she's auditioning for a shampoo commercial. All slow motion hair flips and whatnot. And I accidentally clothesline her with my flailing limbs. It was like a scene from a slapstick comedy, except nobody was laughing, especially her, because, see, it's like this with women. They got this whole expectation thing going on, right? You're supposed to be this graceful, protective force field against the slippery demons of the porcelain abyss. But the truth is, I'm just a clumsy swamp creature navigating a world designed for ballerinas. And that's kind of how I see this whole body image thing too. Like, women are constantly getting judged, weighed, measured, told to shrink here, puff up there. It's like they're living in a goddamn funhouse mirror. And meanwhile, dudes are out here walking around looking like sentient beer kegs, rocking the dad bod like it's the latest fashion trend. And nobody bats an eye. It's a wild double standard. I tell you, it's like comparing a meticulously crafted souffle to a microwaved burrito. Both can be delicious, but one's definitely getting more side-eye at the dinner party, you know? So next time you see a woman falling in the shower, cut her some slack. She's probably just trying to wash her feet, and even if she ain't, it's probably better than the alternative, which is trying to date in the modern world. That's even more slippery, guaranteed someone will end up falling. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this fella, Bobby Ray, could talk the chrome off a trailer hitch, bless his heart. You date him the time, and 3 hours later, you're learning about his hernia operation and the squirrel he saw burying nuts that one time. Anyway, it got me thinking about talkers. See, I ain't talking about the ones who just like to yap. I mean, the long talkers. You ever notice they always got to lean on something? Like they're powered by conversation, and if they stop, they just collapse like a busted waterbed filled with lukewarm chitlins. I avoid them like the plague, like church on a Sunday morning. But then it hit me, kind of like that time I accidentally ate a wasp, thinking it was a raisin. Comics. We're all kind of long talkers, ain't we? Especially when we go about our heroes. I was talking to Eddie Murphy once. Eddie Murphy, and I told him, Eddie, you're a big reason I'm up here sweating like a sinner in church. He just chuckled, that Eddie Murphy chuckle, and it made me think, what if I told people it was dice clay, the looks I would get? Anyway, I asked Eddie why he ain't been back on stage, Mets, and he said something that stuck with me. He said it's like cold water. So he set the bar so dang high. Expectations are like that time I saw a raccoon try to climb a greased telephone pole. Ain't happening. And it's true, you know? We see these comics, these giants, cutting it up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and we think, how'd they get there? Probably crawled on their belly, one bad joke at a time. I had my lumps, let me tell you. Back when I was Jerry, age 22, 24, something like that, got a $25,000 deal. I thought I was King Tut, called my brother, bless his heart, and I said, brother, we get mom a house, dad a house, you a house. Dad gets that truck he's always wanted. We set. Money, gone. IRS knocking like a woodpecker on a crackhead's front door. Had to tell Dad, sorry about that house, Paw. 9 people living in that dang thing, but what you gonna do? Point is, in comedy, we ain't got many chances. That was grinding for 13 years, grinding like a stripper working off her student loans. In the last 4 or 5, been on the upswing. Reminds me of that musical, Little Shop of Horrors. TV's kind of like that plant, ain't it? One of us is getting eaten. Either you eat the box or the box eats you. That show was getting hungry, had to bounce. But, you know, that conversation with Eddie, good as it was, reminds me of the best conversation I ever had. Tad was with my dad ending to me why you had to do drugs. Said everybody was doing it, son. Your Aunt Brenda, your Uncle Earl, hearing him say that, seeing that truth in his eyes, that was something else. It was like watching a caterpillar turn into a rusty butterfly, a reminder that even in the darkest corners, there's a twisted kind of beauty, like a possum wearing a tiny hat. Man, you know, growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish and regret. Always said, Theo, son, sometimes it pays to do a damn fool. And I never understood it till I saw my buddy Earl get fired from Bubba's Bait and Beer. See, Earl thought he was slick, thought he was a swamp ninja, kept tasting the inventory. for quality control, like he was sommelier or Bud Light. But Bubba, he ain't no dummy. Bubba's got eyes like a hawk and a heart full of diesel, so Bubba calls Earl in and says, Earl, you've been lubricating your tonsils a little too liberally, ain't you? And Earl, bless his pea-picking heart, he says, Bubba, I quit. Like he's sticking it to the man. When Bubba was already halfway to writing him up for stealing beer, reminded me of when I tried to sneak out of Sunday school after the sermon about Noah's Ark. Thought I was being all sneaky like a damn raccoon in a hen house. But Miss Gertrude, bless her soul, she caught me by the ear. Said, where you think you going, Theodore? The good Lord sees everything. Which brings me to this whole thing about guys getting rewarded for being, well, less than stellar. Like this dude I saw online, bragging about quitting his job before they could fire him for, let's just say, unprofessional conduct. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Like he's some kind of rep, a modern-day Robin Hood stealing from the less fortunate interns. Reminds me of my cousin Ricky, who dropped out of community college, 'cause he said quantum physics was for nerds. Now he's trying to start a gator wrestling business. Says it's the next big thing. People are actually giving him money. Makes you wonder, don't it? Like, are we living in a world where the biggest goofballs get the gold stars? My other buddy's talking about cleaning boats. Claims he's turning his life around, right? Sure you are, but more likely he just ran out of bail money. These hangovers in my early 20s used to feel fun. Now every shot of Jack feels like one step closer to becoming a middle-aged guy who cleans boats and blames his daddy for his problems, dang. All right, folks, so growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this one neighbor, Cletus. Real character, always wore a coonskin cap. Even in July, looked like Daniel Boone went bankrupt. Started selling fireworks out of his trailer. Anyway, Cletus was convinced aliens were stealing his garden gnomes. Like every week, another gnome gone, vanished, and he'd blame it on them dang space critters. Now, I ain't saying Cletus was wrong, but he also thought Mountain Dew was a health food, so, grain of salt, and it reminds me of these new Nazis popping up, acting like they just discovered hating folks. See, back in my day, Nazi was just something your mom called you when you wouldn't clean your room. Like, Theo, you're being a real Nazi about these Legos. Not some actual belief system. These new ones, though. They got this whole thing about Jews ruining everything. And I'm like, hold on a dang minute. My wife, Anna, she's Jewish. I married into this thing. I got the official decoder ring. I know the truth. And let me tell you, blaming the Jews for everything is like blaming Cletus's missing gnomes on the aliens. Maybe check the raccoons first. Speaking of Anna, I was telling her the other day, I said, honey, we've been hitched for like 3.5 years now. You cool if I still crack jokes about you on stage? And she just shrugs and says, yeah, go ahead. Just don't say I'm a bitch and you don't like me. I almost choked on my sweet tea. The bar is so low. It's practically underground. I mean, that's it. That's the limit. A show about how I hate my wife would be a damn disaster. It'd be like a men's support group hosted by John Voight and Alec Baldwin. Yikes. No thanks. Truth is, Anna is a bitch. A dynamite 5-foot Jewish bitch, and I love her to death. We're polar opposites. She walks around like she's immune to opinions, doesn't give a hoot what anyone thinks. It's beautiful. I, on the other hand, need everyone to like me all the time. It's exhausting. She says being with me is like dating a mayor running for the Mayor of Nothing award. We went to Best Buy the other day to get a TV. Didn't even get the TV. I was too worried the sales guy would be mad. So I bought an HDMI cable, just to smooth things over. Anna's standing there, stone-faced. The guy asks if I have a Best Buy rewards card. I say no, but I wish, and she just walks off full-on Blair Witch style, disappears into the laser printer aisle. I'm left standing there like a dang fool. The guy tries again, want a rewards card? I say no, even though I just implied it's my greatest desire, 'cause I'm picturing telling him I'm trapped in a loveless marriage with little Miss Jesus Christ, who won't let me achieve my true potential. So one day I'm gonna leave her and finally get that dang rewards card, and she's all like, Jesus Christ, Theo, you're never getting that rewards card. See, that's the Catholic versus Jewish thing. I was raised Catholic, she was raised Jewish, two different worlds. We were talking about it the other day, not about kids, though, 'cause we ain't having those. Everyone always asks. And I'm like, I don't know, never is a long time. 14 years ago, I smoked cocaine the night before college graduation. Now I'm afraid to get a flu shot, so who knows what tomorrow will bring. Maybe I'll finally get that Best Buy rewards card after all. All right. West Palm Beach, or is it Palm Beach? Either way, it's hot. Just like that time my Uncle Buster tried to deep fry watermelon at the county fair. Total disaster. Speaking of disasters, someone back there yelled pressure, but they don't even know why. What in the tarnation? It's like asking a goat to explain quantum physics. Ain't gonna happen, folks. I once asked my Aunt Shirley what the capital of Nebraska was, and she said tractors. True story. But this woman, she's right up there with Shirley, bless her heart. Big Latino fellow over here, though, looking sharp. Oscar, they call him. Probably gets all the Cuban votes just by going up, head held high like a pelican looking for a stray fish. 6'3", built like a brick outhouse, as my grandpa used to say. And that hair looks like it was sculpted by Michelangelo himself out of Lego bricks. Poor bald guy next to him is probably ready to throw his dentures at the stage. Now this woman, she's with Oscar, his girlfriend, at 28. Honey, back in my neck of the woods, you ain't married by 28. They start whispering at you like you got a third eye or something. But she's Colombian, different rules apply. It's like comparing a possum to a raccoon, and they both dig in the trash, but they got their own ways. Yeah, Colombians, they got arepas, right? That's it's just a claim to fame. Oh, and that sniff? No, that ain't what you thinking, folks. Probably just a stray pollen particle from one of those fancy Colombian flowers, making them look like they're auditioning for a role in Scarface. Speaking of faces, this woman, the one who knows everything now, suddenly an expert, like she just downloaded the entire internet into her brain while we were talking about watermelons and bald guys. But I bet she didn't know they got fake noses over there. Probably hollowed out on the inside to fit all the extra memories, or maybe just to snort arepa seasoning more efficiently. I don't know. I'm just a country boy trying to make sense of it all, one bizarre observation at a time. All right, y'all. So check it. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled perpetually of boiled crawfish and regret, always hollering about politics, right? He'd be out there in his wife beater, swamp cooler, humming louder than a gospel choir, ranting about Bernie Sanders. Only he called him that dang commie Bernard. Like he knew him personally. Like they shared a po' boy back in 72, maybe at a political rally for the Band-Aid on Forehead Society. Who knows with Mr. Thibodeau, the man once tried to pay for groceries with a handful of cicadas, claimed they were legal tender after the apocalypse. Now Mr. Thibodeau was convinced he and Bernie were practically blood brothers back in Vermont, called themselves the Burlington Three, swore they blew up the original Burlington Coat Factory, which, let me admit you, in rural Louisiana, that's like claiming you burned down the Library of Alexandria. Nobody knows what you're talking about, but it sounds significant. He'd be hollering about occupying Walgreens, hating the 1%, while simultaneously chugging whole milk like it was liquid gold. The man was a walking contradiction, a true Bayou enigma, and he hated those right-wingers. Except for Dick Cruz said his face looked like the whole Dick Tracy movie smushed together. Which I gotta admit is a visual. It's a strong visual, like a Picasso painting made of police sirens and misplaced anger. It reminds me of when I told Trump a joke once. Now he's just one McDonald's burp away from ending the world, so maybe I'm like the art critic who passed on Hitler's paintings. Just trying to pursue Plan B. I'm part of the problem. But man, I was watching the Emmys, right? Saw they handed an award out, totally unexpected. Kind of like finding a $10 bill in your old jeans. Pure unadulterated joy. Before the name was announced, you're just sitting there thinking, why do we do this yearly? This just seems silly. Then you hear your name, man. It's like, this is true love. I saw a comedian, and I'm lucky enough to know them. Dan Lavy was there. It's genuinely happy, like a Catholic and a Jew. Hearing good news at the same time. One is blown away, and the other is just waiting to see how they can make money off of it. So, growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, who collected bottle caps like obsessively. He had him glued to his car, his house, even his dentures, I swear. But he always told me, Theo, boy, life's like a bottle cap, shiny and meaningless until you find the right bottle. And I never knew what that meant until I made this music video, see, because it all started with Segal. Yeah, that's Steven Segal, my sensei, the Aikido master, who's now like a Russian ambassador of Beef Bake or something. I wanted to honor him, even though the man looks like he's starring in a vodka commercial, So we're there on set, dancing for like 4.5 hours straight for an 80-second video. And let me tell you, those dancers are saints. They move like swamp angels, just grinding and shaking like it's nothing, while I'm out there looking like a confused crawfish in a hurricane. Exhausted, everything hurting, but Segal would be proud. I know he would. Plus, we needed Bert Kreischer, my buddy, to play a bigger version of himself, which is kind of redundant, like ordering a double cheeseburger with extra cheese. But we needed his face. See, so we tricked him, told him we were filming promos for our podcast, Two Bears, One Cave. and he just sat there making faces like a chimpanzee trying to understand algebra, and they weren't even recording the sound. Just the video, pure genius. He's like a golden retriever, just happy to be involved until he figured it out on the podcast. Pure gold. That moment was better than finding a 20 in your winter coat. But then came the fun part, killing Bert. And that wasn't even my idea. That was Rami. My director, he's like the Tarantino of comedy videos. He's like, why don't you stab him? And I'm all in. Then it escalated. Stab, handgun, shotgun, machine gun. I'm feeling like I'm in a Rambo movie directed by Mr. Rogers. And I swear, I'm not a violent person. I just love a good visual gag. You know, afterward, everyone was asking Theo, how much did this cost? Like I'm freaking Elon Musk with a crawfish accent. But Rami hooked me up friend rates. He's a real one. So it wasn't six-figure, but it was more than Bert's therapy bill. I'll tell you that much. And to Bert, I gotta say I love you, man. It was fun, but let's be real, I can run faster, jump higher. I'm stronger, like a genetically modified otter. So, next time, bring your A-game. Or maybe just bring some bottle caps, Mr.
So, Thibodeau would be proud. He'd probably glue him to a coffin or something. All right. Settle down, folks. Settle down. So, growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, you wouldn't believe the nicknames. I weren't exactly tall. See, more like compact. One dude, Cousin Earl, bless his heart, he'd yell across the Piggly Wiggly, hey, Theo, I can't believe it's that big. Referencing my personality, I guess. Wasn't the height, but the sheer force of will. You see, like a chihuahua with a Napoleon complex. That's me. And it got me thinking, all this talk about height, it's bullcrap. Tall folks, bless their hearts, they just conversational advantages like them fancy, overpriced steaks that taste like cardboard. There ain't nothing else special about them. They ain't smarter. They ain't funnier. They sure as hell ain't tougher. I've seen a possum take down a Great Dane. Size ain't everything. People. My grandma used to say, little man, little woman, they the salt of the earth. And she knew she was barely 5 foot nothing. Could skin a deer faster than you can say sweet tea. So all you short kings and queens out there, rock that height or lack thereof. You're the real MVPs. Reminds me of this fella, DJ Kentai's. Well, let's just say older gentlemen have some unique talents down there. But seriously, though, height aside, it's about what you bring to the table, not how high you can reach the shelf. It's like Kevin Hart. Love that little dude. He gets all the chicks despite his size. Oh. And party tricks. DJ can tie his balls into a knot. That is his party trick. Reminds me of Santa coming down the chimney. Am I right? Anyways, it all comes down to this. The world's obsessed with superficial stuff. Height, breath, snore, fart. It is always about that. But it's the inside, what kind of heart you got. You feel me? Like this one dude said, the iguana picking up a worm. Who am I compared to that iguana? And I'm up here thinking about Honky Pete as Jumanji League superheroes. It's bonkers. You rather never have sex again, or every time you do, you scream Jumanji. Jesus Christ. My point is, don't go trying to be something you ain't. Own your weirdness. Embrace your flaws, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you, you. Whether you are Black Adam or Honky Pete, embrace it. Life's too short to be anything but a little snack size. Denzel, just ask Wayne Johnson with women thighs. And if anybody gives you grief about your height, just tell them to kiss your, well, you know. Just let your little light shine, y'all. Let it shine. And if they still give you trouble, tell them Theo Von sent you, and I'll sick Cousin Earl on him. He may be short, but he's got a big heart and a, well, you know. Anyways, I'm done. I'm going to get some nutty butter and tea with the queen, y'all. See you later, alligator. Yeah, all right. So there I was back in Louisiana, probably chasing a squirrel or something, you know, just living that bayou life. And I overhear this gal telling a story all hushed like about some fella, right? She's saying he's yelling. She's saying she don't know how he feels. Typical Tuesday. But then, bam, she's changing the subject, asking him questions, trying to be all empathetic. See, now I'm sitting there 6 beers deep thinking this is just another sob story, you know, like when my Uncle Earl lost his dentures in the crawfish pond. Sad, but you move on. But then this lady drops a bomb. The fella only got one leg. One leg, y'all. That's like trying to ride a unicycle in a hurricane. It just ain't gonna happen smooth. And that's when it hits me. This gal was hiding the leg situation. Like she was trying to sell a used car with a busted engine, just glossing over the details, you know? Suddenly, I'm picturing this poor dude back at his place, and I ain't gonna lie, my brain went to a dark place, like one of them back roads you ain't supposed to drive down after midnight. I started thinking about the logistics, if you catch my drift, like that's extra room, like them suicide doors on a Lincoln Continental, you just move the stump, bam, instant access. I felt terrible, y'all. Like I just kicked a puppy, so I tried to apologize, buy him a Bud Light, but he just huffed, stood up on his crutch, and hopped off, probably to go think about life and stuff, you know? But hold on, this ain't all doom and gloom, 'cause later on, back in college, and not too long after the crutch incident, as I call it, I was at a Jello wrestling party, 'cause that's the kind of sophisticated stuff they do in Louisiana. And this dude comes up to me on the staircase out of nowhere, and he's all, "Hey, aren't you in my physics class?" And I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, especially after a few rounds of Jello. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. Turns out we were in physics together, but I was too busy trying not to get slimed to notice, so we start sitting together. He's a nice guy, kind of smart and good shape, likes to party.
So I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, right? Now that's a place where the possums wear tuxedos to the Piggly Wiggly. Okay? My buddy Earl's got this cousin, Cletus, who runs an escape room at his double wide, only it weren't no mall kind of thing. See? It's more like if Deliverance met Home Alone after a case of Natty Light. Anyway, Cletus gets this idea from watching one of those police shows. All of a sudden, he is an expert, so he has to start his own business. He is also so big-headed, and that is where the problems begins. My Aunt Brenda is there along with the kids. You see, we pull up to Cletus's, and it's got this vibe like a meth lab that just lost its lease. That is for sure. My Aunt Brenda is like, oh, heck no. But the kids are screaming about fun, so we go in. Now Cletus opens the door wearing a bathrobe and a shower cap, looking like a Baptist preacher's wife after a rough night. First thing he asks is, have y'all seen my chihuahua, Pepito, and my uncle? Never one to miss an opportunity. Yells, tell Pepito to go get rocks. And then he spits a dip of tobacco onto the porch. This is where the bad began. Cletus ain't phased. He just smiles with his one tooth looking like a tombstone and a pumpkin patch and says, come on in, but leave your wallets and phones in the microwave for the safety. We should have never left our phones. It all went downhill. The kids went full-on sheep. They did not care about safety. Now, Cletus then starts explaining the rules in a low voice like he is about to sell drugs in the middle of the sate. My uncle is all over him, asking about Cletus's mother and why she ain't around. My Aunt Brenda is yelling, and I swear it was like watching a squirrel try to parallel park in the middle of the interstate, chaotic but entertaining. Then came the mother's room part, and that's where it got weird, like a banjo solo at a funeral. Weird. Now, Cletus says we got to leave our car keys, our L phones, our wallets, everything on the counter, which should have been our first clue to just leave. We were all standing there quiet, and my uncle said, did you hear me, Pepito? Go kick rocks. That is when Cletus said, the rules are the rules. It is the escape room. So we all dumbly followed Cletus into the room. And the moment the door slammed shut behind us, it hit me. No waivers, no contact information, just a sketchy guy and a locked door. It was the type of feeling when you accidentally drop a hot dog on the floor in the middle of a church event. Right then, I knew that Cletus had no clue what was going on. My uncle, he says, well, I reckon we're going to be working in a possum farm in Oklahoma by sundown before he starts yelling, Pepito, kick rocks. Because, heck, at that point, a possum farm seemed to that reasonable career choice compared to what Cletus might have had in store. I just know this is where the problem begins. Then my aunt yells, why did we come? I am out, which he said was the punchline to the whole thing. Okay, so growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, we had this neighbor, bless his heart, named Cletus. Cletus thought he was pregnant one time. Swear to God. Said he had morning sickness and everything, probably just ate too many crawfish. You know how we do, which got me thinking about this whole lake situation people be getting themselves into. Like, you ever had fake sex? I mean, you might think you're tearing it up on your side of the bed, but sometimes it's just a phantom limb situation. Know what I'm saying? Reminds me of this dude I saw at the gas station. All bedazzled skull, looking like Jumanji threw up on him, and I'm thinking, what kind of thug invests in rhinestones? He probably spent more on those little-ass diamonds than my whole damn truck. And that's saying something, because my truck ain't pretty. It's like a rusty mullet on wheels.
And speaking of things that ain't pretty, these fellas wearing suits look like they raided the deacon's closet, rocking those women's skinny jeans, thinking they're all that, but really they just look like a sausage trying to escape its casing. And I'm just saying, some people got too many teeth in their mouth, like a crocodile got hold of their chompers and just kept adding extras, you know. Which brings me to celebrities. Saw Lil Xan the other day, face tattoos and all, looking like a coloring book exploded. And I just want to yell at these kids, stop writing on your face. You ain't gonna get a job looking like a rejected Picasso painting. Then you got Shaq, bless his heart, 4-time MVP, Hall of Famer, but still hanging around Home Depot helping folks load lumber. Like he ain't got nothing better to do, which I guess he don't. Especially since he retired from the celebrity games. Think that man can't handle defeat when it's people like The Rock who done turned soft on us. His forehead looks like it's held on by Velcro nowadays. And then there's Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for showing too much skin. Which, let's be honest, I'd pay $1 million to see her naked again because that lady is like a sunset over the Louisiana bayou. Pure magic. And these comedians like Kevin Hart bragging about all his houses like he's playing Monopoly with real money. Cabo, Miami, New York, Philly, Jersey, it's like, calm down, shorty. You gonna fall back and hit your soft spot. You know what they say about Hollywood, don't work with animals or kids, but I'd rather work with a monkey wearing a diaper than these comedians, acting like they are babies, constantly throwing tantrums. Probably got crayons smeared all over their designer suit. But you know what the real tragedy is? Them waking up in the morning reading the dictionary every day trying to seem smart when really, their lives are just like a bad crawfish boil. All the ingredients are there, but something just ain't right now if you excuse me. I got a date with some boudin and a six-pack. Because that, my friends, is the real soliloquy of life. Thank you and good night.
All right, so let me tell y'all something. Back in Louisiana, we had this one rooster, okay? Real mean fella. Name him Dr. Phil, because he'd peck at you and then act like he was giving you advice. He didn't ask for, you know? Anyway, reminds me, I went to the doctor the other day just for a checkup, figuring I'd get the usual, you're fine, except maybe lay off the boudin. But this ain't no regular doctor. This dude's like if Dr. Phil, the rooster went to medical school and failed out, but they still gave him a lab coat.
And I'm talking, walked in, didn't say howdy, didn't say bless your heart, just pointed at my head and says, you want something for that hair? Like I'm growing a chia pet on my scalp that nobody told me was dying. Then slams my chart open, makes this whoosh sound like he just opened the gates of hell and goes, wow, like I just confessed to eating a whole family-sized bag of Doritos in one sit-in, which, all right, maybe I did, but that's between me and the good Lord. Then he's all 200, not exactly weight loss, like I'm trying out for the goddamn Olympics of skinny. I mean, I'm a huggable fella. All right. So then he starts on my blood work, says my muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, I'm strong as a gator wrestling a pickup truck, but he tells me that's bad. Only explanations are Olympic athlete or a cocaine addict.
Now, I ain't never touched the devil's dandruff, but this fella looks at me like I'm Tony Montana in overalls. And when the nurse chimes in suggesting marathons, he just looks at me up and down like I'm a busted lawnmower, no sympathy. I swear I felt like a prize pig at the state fair, just waiting to get judged. Then out of nowhere, he asks if I'm married, and when I say yes, he's all to a guy. Like I gotta explain my love life to this dude poking and prodding at me, writes gay. On my chart, I mean, what in the sweet tea hell is going on? My wife asked if I'll go back. I said absolutely. He's the funniest doctor I've ever met. I mean, I just have to go back and show him my real muscle, the one that opens a jar of pickles after 3 days in the fridge. All right, so I went down to pick up my boomsticks, right? 2 of them. Kind of like that time me and Earl tried to catch a greased pig at the county fair. Only way more mowers. Had a shotgun too, but busted it the first day. Bless its heart. Thought I was getting that ka-chunk model, the one like in them westerns, but the fella done sold me the punt. Like a disappointed fart, you know? So I get there. This dude, Kevin, looks like a librarian who wrestled gators in his spare time. Tells me, Theo, brother, can't give you your pew-pews. I'm like, say what now, Kevin? He drops the bombshell. Paperwork's all jacked up. Bills in your wife's name. Trucks in the company's name. You're a ghost, son. Now, I started cackling like a hyena at a Tupperware party because all I could think was, damn, the system actually works. Felt safer knowing I couldn't get my hands on those things than if he just handed them over like candy corn at Halloween. Told him straight up, Kevin, this is beautiful, like seeing a squirrel water ski, but he just stared at me dead serious and said, oh, you're getting your damn guns. Suddenly felt like I was eating grits with a fork.
Something just ain't right. Turns out Kevin, bless his heart, had a workaround. Called up my lovely bride, told her to print out a blank lease, write that I was renting a broom closet from her, fax it over, and bam, problem solved. She about died laughing, said the place was booked solid with her imaginary yoga instructors. But she sent it anyway. Gotta love that woman. Got my guns. Love him like a stray dog. Loves a belly rub. See a gun in a movie. I'm calling Kevin faster than you can say sweet tea. Like when I off-Y, Agent Smith rocking that Desert Eagle. I had to have it. Kevin said California ain't playing that 50 caliber game, but he'd hook me up with a 40 and a workaround, bless his soul, and then tried to upsell me on an AR-15. Now, I ain't saying I'm irresponsible, but I did lose my Glock in the shower for 9 days. Felt like I'd lost a tooth or something. My wife, bless her heart, heard AR-15 and came storming in like a honey badger on bath salts yelling, is that some bitch trying to sell you another one of them? Killing machines. I told Kevin I ain't gonna be part of the problem. I'm gonna be the dang solution. No more lost guns, no more scared kids, just my Desert Eagle and a shotgun. She says that's the man I married, like I just cured cancer or something. Kevin asks if he's on speaker and then proceeds to tell me, in the event of an apocalypse, an AR-15 is the only way to protect my family. Like, Civ 6 are gonna give a dang about my southern charm. I couldn't help myself, I swear. I asked if he could get one with a bump stock. My wife promptly canceled my lease faster than a catfish can swallow a cricket. Guess I'll be sleeping in the doghouse with old Blue tonight. All right, folks, so I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, right? Place so small, the Walmart's got a drive-through window for your prescriptions and maybe some crawfish etouffee. Anyway, my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's trying to name his kid and he's stuck. He wants something unique, something that'll make his kid stand out. I said, Dale, you name that kid Refrigerator, he's going to stand out. All right, stand out in the principal's office every dang day. But it got me thinking about names. See, like how important is a name, really? This whole Emmy thing reminds me of it. This comedian, John Mulaney, right, wins an Emmy, which is like winning the Super Bowl for people who tell jokes instead of throwing balls in some website deadline. They mess up his name. They call him Jew Open like he's a new medication for toe fungus or something. Reminds me of my Aunt Shirley. She's got every ailment known to man. She'd try anything with Jew in the name. Now, I know John, I've known him for a bit, and I can vouch he's a Mulaney, single L, folks. Messing up a name. It's like mispronouncing someone's gumbo recipe. It's just wrong, you know? And then they get another detail wrong. It's like adding pineapple to a chili. It just shouldn't happen. Like calling someone Mulvaney, it just feels wrong. Feels like something the New York Post would yell out with big, bold letters right next to an expose of my big throbbing vein. It's almost like stealing a moment, right? John wins this Emmy, big deal. Then someone proposes. That's like ordering the only steak in a restaurant. Then when it comes out, they put a dang onion ring on it. I just hope John doesn't feel like some crawfish that just barely got pulled out the pot when the fire went out. Now, I'm no expert on names. Hell, my own mama probably regrets what she named me, but I know a Mulaney when I see one. Sounds kind of like a brand of artisanal soap you buy in Brooklyn, to be honest. And messing up Mulaney, that's just Loringer level ignorance, and that's saying something. What is it with those coastal elites messing with people's name? I bet they think a boudin ball is a fancy dessert. Hey. Man, I swear growing up back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we had this old dog, Cletus. Dumber than a box of rocks. Bless his heart. Cletus used to chase his tail so hard he'd spin himself right into the damn ditch. You know, like those folks who just got to get kicked in the face because they watch the foot coming. Like Cletus saw that tail and you know he'd bite it again. Reminds me of this dude I saw getting booted, right? He looked at us after like, did y'all see that? Needed validation for being an idiot. Now, I ain't one for kicking. I'm a fist kind of guy unless, hear me out, unless you start stretching before a fight. You stretching, I'm out. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something, my cousin Ricky, bless his heart, he used to try and catch squirrels with a butterfly net, right? Butterfly net. Said he was going to train him to pull a little wagon like a gosh darn miniature Clydesdale team, and I'm sitting there thinking, Ricky, you're about as likely to train a squirrel as you are to teach a possum to play the banjo, but hey, that's Ricky. Reminds me, people laugh at folks' imperfections, their little stumbles and bumbles, you know, physical flaws, things you can see plain as day. And yeah, it's funny sometimes, like when I tried to wear Crocs to a wedding. Hilarious. Disabilities, that's a whole different ball game, ain't it? Most ain't funny, especially the ones that end up on quilts Are those 10K runs. Those are straight up tough, no joke about it. But then you got these weird situations, these curveballs life throws you, and you got to ask yourself, is that funny? And let me tell you, I got 3 examples that'll have you question your entire existence. First, foreign accent syndrome. You hear about it? Folks get bonked on the head, bad car wreck or something, wake up talking like they're from freaking Belgium. It's not funny, the head bonk part, but the accent? Oh, brother. And try not to giggle when you see a fellow from Alabama suddenly sounding like he's running a trattoria in Naples, saying something like, the tractor, she's no working no more. If that ain't funny to you, you need to check your pulse, friend. But the real kicker, British lady never left her town for 33 years, gets in an accident, wakes up talking with a Chinese accent. Chinese? Suddenly she's all, hello, I have no conversated with you over many moons. You want a cup of tea? Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me there ain't a god with a seriously twisted sense of humor. And don't get all woke on me, it's a white lady. It's like she ordered the wrong accent on Amazon. But look, that British lady, she can say what she wants, maybe even start offering happy endings with that tea. Who knows? All right. If you're still stone-faced, how about this? Persistent genital arousal disorder? Basically nonstop, every 90 seconds. Imagine trying to hold down a job like that. Trying to sell someone a used car. This baby's got low mileage. Bam. Or getting groceries. They can't get any peace, any calm. It's just a mess. Sis, can I try on this shirt? Forget the shirt. I need new pants. And some poor soul's got both those afflictions. Can you imagine? Sorry to hear about your dad passing away. Ooh, that feels good. I just made that up. Maybe not funny to you, but I'm rolling with it. Still not convinced? Tourette's. My 5th grade Catholic school. New kid walk in on a Wednesday mass day. Priest starts, in the name of the Father. Kid, infant yells, fuck your cunt. Silence. Priest keeps going, Holy Spirit. Kid again, lick my balls. Fuck you. I'm dying. Trying not to explode. Kid next to me whispers, he's got Tourette's. It gets old. I never got old. Best 3 years of my life, especially the substitute teacher. They didn't warn her it was biblical. Saw a 10-year-old shatter a grown woman's spirit. Poor lady walks in, read chapter 3, tick starts building. She's like, what's going on? He starts painting his own shirt with markers every day. She didn't know. Then he does his face. She's like, stop that. He goes, you bitch, fuck you. She's breaking down what's happening. We're like, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? She died inside, quit teaching, but she's fine, Probably selling candles on Etsy now, telling folks this scents are inspired by inner peace. The important thing is just look for the joy, or at least try to find the humor even when it's dark. It's a midnight deer stand or something. Man, let me tell you something. I knew this dude back in Tickfall named Earl. Looked like a scarecrow that got struck by lightning, right? Earl had this Chihuahua, Pepe, meanest little ankle biter you ever did see. Wouldn't let nobody near Earl, not even Earl's own mama. Bless her heart. She tried to bring Earl a casserole once, and Pepe went straight for the jugular like a furry little piranha. Anyway, Earl used to say Pepe ain't mean, he just protective, just like how them black mamas get when their kids mess up. I'ma count to 3, boy. You be out of them woods. And they ain't playing, but then you got the white mamas, Lord have mercy, they get fed up too, but it's a different kind of fed up. It's like, I've had it up to here with your insubordination, get in the car, we're going for a ride down by the lake, and the kids are all excited, thinking it's a fun day. Little do they know, mama's got other plans. My own mama, she would never take us for a ride down by the lake, but she'd sure use that story as a threat, scare us straight, saying, y'all keep messing up, I'm gonna take your asses for a ride. And I'd be thinking, mama, you don't even have a car, you go and hitchhike us down there. It's like that Lavelle Crawford joke, good stuff. Reminds me of the Mexican-American folks too. They got that same kind of love, that same kind of fire. They love flowers, they love music, they love white girls named Debbie, they love education, going to night school, taking Spanish and getting a B. They don't love getting up early, but they do it anyway, real slow like a turtle in molasses. They love their nanas and nonos and ninas and ninos, nano. But don't you dare call them beaters. Them old cars they drive, they'll kick you in the face faster than you can say Cheech and Chong. Call them beers, even though they drive real slow, goddamn slow. They don't like to be called Peter. You can dress them up, but you can't take them out. That's the truth, man. They name Chata and Sheila and Chima and little Chima and have a son-in-law named Jeff, and they don't like 'em movies where the dude has to wear contact lenses to make his blue eyes brown, 'cause don't make my brown eyes blue. Is it time for the race? They live in Los Angeles, San Diego, San Antonio, San Francisco, and now all over Canada. They just get cold up there. Mexican Americans have been here forever, and we're going to be here forever, and we only want what's fair. Mexican Americans, yeah, man, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us. Now the credits are going to roll. You don't have to stick around, but I do. There's my name. Woohoo, the fifth cameraman is hot. Okay, then I'm done. Can I go now? For crying out loud, what, mommy? It's over. Just like that time Earl's mama tried to give Pepe a treat, and he bit her so hard she needed stitches. Some things just ain't worth the casserole, you know.
Man, let me tell you something. I get riled up faster than a hound dog chasing a possum up a sycamore tree. It ain't even funny. Like, tiny stuff sets me off. And I ain't talking about global warming or nothing political. Nah, I'm talking about straight up primal disgust. You ever see somebody eating and sweating at the same dang time? I'm talking like barbecue ribs, back porch 98 degrees, just dripping and chomping. I want to throat punch him. I swear to biscuits, slow down, Earl. Ain't nobody gonna snatch that half-eaten rib out of your greasy mitt. What's the fire? But all right, that ain't even the main vein of my irritation. No, sir, it's deeper than that. Recently, I've come to this realization, and y'all might not like it, but I ain't sugarcoating nothing for nobody. I ain't got no patience for folks who ain't blessed with the looks. I said it. It's out there. Hang with me now. Don't go throwing tomatoes just yet. See, it ain't about being shallow. It's about the neediness, the constant excuse me. Where's the bathroom? Can you help me with this? Like, I want to treat them like stray cats. Get out of here. Go on, scram. It's just too much, too damn much. Let me paint the picture so you don't think I'm just some backwoods monster. I'm at the bank, right? Normal Tuesday, pulling out of the parking lot. Gotta stop at that little booth, give the fella my ticket. So this dude, bless his heart, slides open the glass, leans out, and this fella could curdle milk with his gaze. But when he sees me, Theo Vaughn, he just lights up like a Christmas tree, practically drooling all over his ugly mug, all up in my face like Kevin Hart running the drive-through. And he's, I ain't letting you out of here till you tell me why you chose us, why you bank with the us. I'm thinking, bro, I got crawfish to boil. I ain't got time for your existential crisis. But he's serious, dead serious, staring right through me. So I say, fine, customer service, loan rate free check in there, happy now? And this is where I almost lost it. He goes, that's all you had to say with your little ugly ass. I said, did you just call me ugly? And he hits the button and I'm gone, fuming. I'm at Chipotle 2 blocks down, lines wrapped around the building, all because of this troll booth encounter. So I'm standing there ready to explode. And this woman behind me says, all sunshine and rainbows. Oh, it's such a beautiful day. I'm about to lose my damn mind, turn around and unload the whole clip. But then I see her. This woman could launch 1,000 ships. I mean, straight up goddess. And suddenly I got all the time in the world. I'm Miss Rogers. You know what? It is a nice day. We need some rain though. Haven't had rain in a minute. And she just turns around and says, I wasn't even talking to you. Oh, hell no. Excuse me. I just got to know what made you choose Chipotle today. Silent. Then she says, I'm not telling you that, immediately making me realize I was the unattractive person in that conversation. And I know y'all probably ain't gonna like hearing this, but I'm telling you, no matter how good you think you look, you probably don't look that good. And the universe will remind you, like my wife, we were watching TV. That little golem monster from Lord of the Rings comes on all twitchy and weird, and she says, oh my god, babe, you do that? I said, bitch, what did you just say to me? Calling me a monster to my face? Is this how you treat people in this house? So I get it now. We're all just Smeagol trying to find his precious, even the beautiful ones, and probably especially the ones who work the bank booth.
All right, y'all, let me tell you something about them early hustles before the spotlight found this Louisiana boy. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale. Bless his heart, thought he could train squirrels to water ski. Spent 6 months in a whole lot of pecans, ended up with squirrels that just knew how to drown fancy. Speaking of drowning, remember working at this Office Max, right? They wanted me to greet folks like I was selling salvation. Welcome to Office Max. How can I help you? Take it to the max. Sounded like something them televangelists say before they ask you to donate your social security check. Couldn't do it. Felt like I was lying to folks. I was better at Aviation Joint, where my grandma worked. And I remember going out with a girl from work who was proud of her promiscuous ways. Then I did some time vacuuming, but in a weird way where I threw dirt in front of people and then vacuumed it up. After that, I tracked shipments for sperm clinics like a FedEx for baby juice, making sure that precious cargo arrived on time, like Santa Claus, but with more bodily fluids. I even drove a dog van that one time, Dumb and Dumber style, wrestling rich folks' yappy chihuahuas into that metal death trap. Then there was waiting tables where folks recognized me from Comic View, asking if I was the one on the show. Was you on Comic View? They'd be like, bread in the wing or leg in the thigh.
That job eventually got me punched in the face and knocked unconscious, but hey, at least I got a free hamburger out of it. Oh, and lifeguarding and selling sneakers and, well, it's all in my book, Life Lessons, which nobody's read. Go get it and then check out my other book on Audible, because who has time to read anymore? Kevin here's got promo at Edis, bless his heart, can't stop hustling his Jumanji 2 tapes. And that's the damn truth, y'all. Truth, like a possum playing dead in the middle of I-10, gotta swerve to miss it. And maybe that possum knows something we don't. Maybe he's onto something big, like a new way to monetize possum roadkill. Now there's an idea. All right, so I was at this Waffle House down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Place smells like regret and burnt coffee. You know the vibe. And this lady, bless her heart, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. It's like a lobster omelet with a side of gold flakes or something. I don't know, something ridiculous. And I'm thinking, man, this is Waffle House, not the goddamn Ritz. It's like bringing a Ferrari to a monster truck rally. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl tried to impress this girl by taking her to the fanciest burger joint in Ponchatoula. Spent his whole paycheck, and she ended up leaving with the dude driving a tractor. Turns out she was into that farm-to-table lifestyle, literally. And, you know, these waiters, they got to give you that little head nod that, are you sure you can afford this look, like they're protecting your bank account from yourself. Which got me thinking about women complaining about relationships. Always picking the wrong dudes. It's like ordering a steak and lobster when you know you're on a damn McDonald's budget, you know? If you keep attracting ain't shit dudes, maybe, just maybe, there's something about your pussy that's broadcasting easy signal, like a moth to a busted-ass porch light. It's time to take some responsibility, ladies, because no one want to hear complaints about this. It just feels like Michael Jackson being poor. You know, imagine MJ growing up in the projects, him and Tito riding around in a Cadillac looking for bad girls, Michael's on crack, and now suddenly get that the police, they didn't protect the black people, which it feels like an old Timex commercial for them, but it is all right if the brother gets paid, like Ike Turner did as the king of the Wolverbeater before O.J. Simpson taking that crown. But when O.J. was innocent in the eyes of Johnny Cochran, those white people who couldn't sleep because of the verdict, it's like black people getting insomnia since the slavery. Now you hear something like that, you just want to yell out, fuck the police, while driving 300 miles an hour in a Volkswagen because Lorena Bobbitt cutting off her husband's member, driving down the freeway and throwing it out the windows, Justice 2, and with the LA Police Department searching for OJ. Simpson, you're thinking it is the justice system that is not working. It's all connected, man, like dominoes falling after a crawfish boil. All right, settle down, y'all. Good to be here, feeling good, feeling real good. Almost 30, which, you know, it's a number. A big old juicy number. Feels like yesterday I was chasing fireflies in the Louisiana swamp. Bare feet, covered in mud, thinking quicksand was going to be the death of me. Seriously, you watch those cartoons, it's right up there with anvils falling from the sky and sticks of dynamite. I was more worried about quicksand than taxes. And now, never even seen it. Nobody calling me up saying, Theo, take the back roads, quicksand swallowed. It's like, where'd it go? Like my hairline vanished into the ether, but back then, the real threat, the thing that kept me up at night, wasn't sinking in sand. It was people thinking I was Chinese. Let me tell you, this bowl cut and these squinty eyes, they screamed Kung Fu Kid louder than Bruce Lee on a karaoke night. Kids be calling me names, slurs I ain't even gonna repeat. Words I didn't even understand. I'm standing there like a confused possum in a headlight, 'cause I ain't Chinese. My family's about as Chinese as grits and gravy. The closest we get to Asia is taking our shoes off at the door, mostly just to keep the carpet clean after Mama's crawfish boil. But it was rough. It was real rough. I remember in 7th grade, we went to the symphony, and every time that big old gong went off, these kids, these savage little swamp creatures, they'd turn around and bow at me like I was some kind of emperor with a bad haircut. It was racist as hell, but also I gotta give them credit. The coordination was impressive. For a bunch of 13-year-olds fueled by Mountain Dew and Spite, it was a whole dang performance. Made me feel like I was in some twisted, low-budget racist Cirque du Soleil. But that's the past. We all say dumb stuff. I mean, look at TV. You can say anything on TV these days, especially on Law & Order SVU. They can't say the F word, but they can describe a crime scene with enough detail to make your stomach churn. Anal contusions this, cement and fecal matter in the ear canal that, and it's always Ice-T delivering the line. Ice-T, cop killer looking confused as ever, like he just walked in off the set of Colors. You mean this dude likes pigtails? Yeah, Ice, it's a pedophile. Welcome to the sex crimes unit. grab a donut and try to keep up. It's like that time they tried to explain sex addiction to him. They're really trying, and Ice-T finally gets it. He's looking all serious, and he says, "Oh, I get it. You mean like when someone drinks too much or snorts cocaine or bets the house on the ponies?" I almost choked on my water. I was praying they just let him keep going. Just name every vice he could think of. Or like when someone eats too much fried chicken, or watches too much reality TV, or collects porcelain dolls. Just fade out. Created by Dick Wolf. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of TV I want to see. So yeah, almost 30. Seen something, called some names, dodged the quicksand. Maybe it's time to start collecting porcelain dolls. Or maybe just keep watching Ice-T solve crimes. Either way, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Just try not to bet the house on the ponies, you know.
Man, I was just back in my hometown, you know, in Orange or Louisiana, population smaller than the number of teeth my Uncle Earl lost to possum wrestling. And this fella, bless his hair, tried to connect with me over grits at the Waffle House. Grits. Like, that's the best we got, buddy. But it got me thinking, see all these gigs, city after city, and folks are always asking, Theo, are people the same everywhere? And I tell you, some places are like a stale gas station burrito. Just plain wrong. But underneath all that, deeper than the mud on a gator wrestler's boots. Everybody, and I mean everybody, just wants to connect, you know? Like when you see a hound dog and you just know you got to give it a belly rub. It ain't about the language. It ain't about the fancy cars or the teeth. It's just that human or canine urge to link up. And when you got chemistry with someone, that real stuff, it's like finding a $20 bill in your grandpa's overalls. Pure gold. Do you want to hang, maybe date, maybe even, and I ain't judging, maybe you want to bury him 18 miles west of Lake Worth and get a little thrill every time you drive by. We all have our things, right? But sometimes, Lord have mercy, sometimes there ain't nothing there, like trying to make sweet tea with salt water. I'm checking in at this hotel the other week, see, and this dude behind the counter, he hits me with the small talk shotgun. Where you from? Los Angeles, I say, hoping to shut it down quick. But he's like, oh yeah, I got family in Denver. I'm thinking, dang, what are the odds? Then he drops the bomb. Yeah, they got a furniture store. I'm trying to be nice. I like to sit on furniture. All right, how y'all doing? That's what I like to hear. Yeah, Theo Vaughn here. Let me tell you something. Grew up in the sticks, Louisiana. We had this old hound dog, Blue. Sweetest thing, but dumber than a box of rocks, I swear. He'd chase his tail till he passed out. Then wake up and do it again. Just pure unadulterated joy in that dog's heart. Reminds me of my cousin Earl, bless his soul anyway. Saw some fancy water backstage, thought I'd grab a sip. Next thing you know, sploosh right down the front of my pants, looking like I just lost a battle with my bladder. And you know what's crazy? We're all so worried about looking like we peed ourselves. Like it's the ultimate social faux pas, but let me tell you, nobody's intentionally rocking the pee-stained pants look. Like, yeah, just gonna let this soak in. Air dry. Adds character. Nah, if it happens, it's an accident. A momentary lapse of judgment. Like driving a tractor through a car wash, you just gotta own it. And besides, pee's like that fire in backdraft, it goes where it wants. It's got a mind of its own, seeping down your leg, pulling in your shoe. A real abstract expressionist masterpiece. But that got me thinking. You ever see them folks in the bathroom, hovering under the hand dryer, scorching their nether regions like they're trying to deep fry a chicken? Ain't nobody got time for that. And that water wasn't water, 'cause it just kept humming like a leaky faucet, which is a sign. I'm getting older. 43 now, which is weird, 'cause I just got carded at Cracker Barrel, but my knee sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Makes me think of these awards, you know, we give them out, feel good, raise some money, but it's like, who really deserves it? You know, like in Willy Wonka, Charlie gets the golden ticket, takes Grandpa Joe, and everybody's cheering, but what about Grandpa George, huh? Laying in that bed, looking like a prune, getting passed over for the guy who suddenly remembers how to walk after 4. Grandpa Joe, that walrus-mustached con artist, lying in bed while they sing Cheer Up Charlie, that song that sounds like a funeral dirge, while his mama makes laundry soup. It ain't right. It ain't fair. It's like award shows where some folks get the golden ticket, and others are left eating dust. And honestly, that reminds me of that hound dog Blue. He never got any awards, just chased his tail and barked at squirrels, but he was happy as a clam. Maybe that's the real award, just finding your own damn tail to chase. Now ain't that something? All right. So let me tell y'all something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this old beagle named Blue, right? Dumber than a box rocks, but loved him to death. This dog, I swear, thought his own farts were a gift from God. Chase his tail round and round, snapping at that phantom smell like he just cornered the Easter Bunny. Reminds me, kinda, of how folks are treating this whole AI thing, you know? Sniffing around something they don't understand, thinking it's gonna solve all their problems, when really it's just gonna leave them gagging on its digital flatulence. I'm telling you, this AI stuff, it's like when my cousin Earl tried to make moonshine in his bathtub,
Sounded good on paper. Ended up with a whole lot of nothing but regret and a bathroom that smelled like burnt tires. See, everybody's talking about how AI is going to revolutionize education, personalized learning, make every kid a genius. But I'm looking at it like Earl's Bathtub Moonshine. A lot of hype, a little bit of potential, and a whole heap of things that can go sideways real quick. They say it's going to adapt to each student's pace, give them custom tailored lessons like some kind of learning concierge. But I'm thinking, what happens when the AI gets bored? What happens when it decides little Timmy needs to learn about the mating habits of the Bolivian tree lizard instead of fractions? You think that algorithm cares that little Timmy's got a math test next week? Hell no, that algorithm's going to be off chasing digital butterflies, leaving Timmy in the dust with a bunch of tree lizard facts he can't use to save his life, just like when old Blue was chasing that fart, got nothing but air, and learned less than the dirt he snuffled. Shoot, during COVID, felt like trying to smuggle moonshine past a pack of bloodhounds just to get to Chelsea, Canada. You know, Chelsea's where the snow bunnies live, not that dang town in Massachusetts, although I hear they got good clam chowder, but I needed to carve some powder. See, Canada was tighter than a tick on a hound dog, folks. We're building walls higher than my Uncle Earl still. But then I saw Kevin on the gram prancing back and forth across that border like he owned the place. Thanksgiving dinner in Arkansas one day, maple syrup in Ontario the next. And this was during the 2-week quarantine, which, let me tell you, 2 weeks with my thoughts is like being trapped in a room with a rabid squirrel. So I called Kevin, bless his heart, and I said, Kev, I don't know if you're smuggling beavers or what, but I need your help. This lady needs her double blacks. And Kevin, he's got that smooth talk like a used car salesman in July. He says, Chelsea, sugar, no problem. I'll get you a gig on my movie. Behind the camera, in front. Heck, I'd play a moose if I had to. Just get me across that line. He promised paperwork, help, everything. Kept saying, I got you, Chelsea, I got you, I got you. And that's Kevin in a nutshell, ain't it? You ask Kevin for a favor, you get 3 I got yous faster than a hummingbird flaps its wings. And then you hear from him less than you hear from a dial-up modem these days. It's like waiting for rain in a drought. So we're honoring Kevin tonight, folks. A man who'd deny a privileged lady a ski trip during a global freakout. Makes you think maybe he's secretly saving the world one denied powder day at a time. Or maybe he just forgot like he forgot to return my lawnmower 5 years ago. Either way, bless his heart. Man, I swear I remember one time back in Tickfall, Louisiana, used to go catfishing with my Uncle Earl. This dude looked like if a bear and a lawnmower had a baby, but gentle as a lamb till you touched his Copenhagen anyway. We'd be out there on the bogue chitto breathing in that swamp air thick enough to chew. And he always said, Theo, boy, sometimes the best way to catch a catfish ain't with no fancy bait. It's just acting real still, real calm, like a log floating downstream. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with cops, but bear with me, because one time got pulled over outside Baton Rouge, felt like I was in a dang aquarium with that flashlight blazing in my eyes. Cop comes up looking like he swallowed a lemon whole. Sir, you know why I pulled you over? And I remembered Uncle Earl's catfish wisdom, so I took a deep breath like I was smelling honeysuckle on a summer morning, stared straight ahead like I was looking into the dang future. Let him ask again, sir, do you know why I pulled you over? And this is where it gets real. Tickfall, real Uncle Earl. I put my finger to his lips, gentle as a butterfly landing on a magnolia. Shh, I said like I was telling a baby robin to hush. Then I ain't even lying. Stroked his mustache, just a little tap, 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 like playing a tiny piano on his face. And then, brother, I just eased on down the road, left him standing there looking like he'd just seen Bigfoot riding a uniskull. I'm telling you. Sometimes treating a cop like a catfish is the dang answer. Now, I ain't saying it's legal, but I'm saying Uncle Earl would be proud, real proud. Man, I swear, growing up in Louisiana, you know, we had this one dude, Cletus, looked like a thumb with a mullet, always trying to sell me fireworks he found behind the Piggly Wiggly, and it reminds me of trying to do comedy in Brooklyn, you know. I did a black room, right? Thought I was woke, wasn't going to do the white guy thing, you know, be myself. Lasted 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes before I was bombing worse than a flock of pigeons in a park fountain. Someone told me I had to go in there severely autistic or talk about Pokemon. Like, what the heck is that? Because apparently black people love Japanese cartoons like more than a possum loves roadkill. Didn't know that. Had zero clue. Thought they were busy building pyramids or something. Speaking of clueless, remind me of prison. It's so wild in there, man. Can I just visit people in prison and tell them I love Japanese cartoons? Do I have to know them? Because I feel like if you go in there and shout Tyrone, you're all right. Like 80% of the inmates will be happy to see you. Reminds me of back when we used to ding-dong ditch the town church. All right, so check this out. Reminds me of my cousin Billy Ray, bless his heart, used to say just turned sweet 16 about his prize-winning hog at the county fair. Now Billy Ray, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Kind of like this fella right here, mentioning the girl's age, like it's a limited time offer at Arby's, which brings me to this whole age thing in life. How everyone's always got an expiration date slapped on him. especially in this business. You get past 30 and suddenly you're antique furniture. Got to dust yourself off before every gig, you know? Like I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl swears he's Benjamin Buttoning. Getting younger every year, says he started using this snake oil from a traveling salesman. Smells like old gym socks and regret, but Earl, he's convinced it's the fountain of youth, which is probably what this young fella thinks he's got with the fresh out the oven girlfriend. Forgetting that life's a microwave, and sooner or later, everything gets reheated and ends up tasting kinda rubbery, just like Earl's snake oil. Promise, honestly, probably most of our dating lives. All ending up with us wondering if maybe we should have just stuck with the hog at the county fair. Least then you know what you're getting. You know, maybe just stick with the mac and cheese and avoid the trouble altogether.
All right. Hold on now. Let me tell y'all something. So, I was back home in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake after Mama Sue sits on it, which, bless her heart, ain't nobody wanted to see. And my buddy Earl, bless his heart too, kind of simple fella. Earl's got this bucket list, right? Now, most folks, they got traveling the world, skydiving, maybe learning to play the dang harp on their list. Earl wants to learn how to belly dance. Belly dance. I swear I almost spit out my sweet tea. Told him, Earl, you look like a busted refrigerator. Try and wiggle, but you go on with your bad self. But it got me thinking about meeting Obama. You know, Bo, as I called him, real, in the White House. Like I told my wife, girl, this my De Niro moment. You better recognize, and how I did my Denzel impression. Chomp chomp. Training day. Nobody clapped. I swear it was racist. Anyways, it was just such a small thing, belly dancing dreams and presidential handshakes, all mixed up like grits and gravy. But the other day, it really pissed me off when I saw Cube talking about how I walk. You know, he just stays angry because his top lip never moves. Reminds me of my Uncle Ray. That dude looks like he hasn't had a decent haircut in 5 years. But you know what made me think this is the same Nicole Kidman where she couldn't even clap? She just had boomerangs for hands right there. The point is, folks are so dang worried about these big, grand bucket list items, the things they think are important, that they forget about the little things, like just getting out there, running along the beach like I like to do, but then somebody threw shit at me, literally. But no matter what, folks are so worried about feet, you just got to realize you can't take steps in life without them. And that reminds me, I got some gala ladies coming over to get their feet blessed. It's all connected, see? Belly dancing, the president, bad haircuts, feet. It's all just a bunch of crazy life stuff, and that's just how I feel, like a possum playing dead on a hot asphalt road, hoping nobody mistakes you for a speed bump. All right, folks, let me tell you something. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this rooster, right? Meanest son of a gun you ever did see. Named him secretary because he pecked at everything. Even the postman picture that a rooster hating on official mail delivery makes about as much sense as kale smoothies. Anyway, that rooster was a jerk, just like my luck on the road sometimes. 8 years back, I was a youngin' hitting the sauce a little too hard, stand up in Seattle, trying to woo a girl, but her friend, oh Lord, every 30 seconds not interested, then she could do better. Escalating like a bad banjo solo until she drops the bomb. You're very unattractive, and me drunk, I blurt out, get some more Botox, you lizard. Feel bad about that now. Real bad, although, truth be told, in the moment, nailed it like shooting a crawdad in a barrel. But she got furious. Or at least I think she did. Botox makes it hard to tell. You know? Then her boyfriend pops me one, deserved it, she was his lizard. And I respected the loyalty, like a hound dog sticking with its owner, even if the owner's wearing Crocs, foreshadowing though. A month later, Cleveland, Ohio, LeBron had just left. City felt like everyone had just found out their chew toy had been recalled. Whole dang economic plan hitched to one dude, 'cause I love Cleveland. Good folks met this older woman after the show. Firecracker, but she's with a dude, just a friend. Valentine's Day though, so you know there's tension thick enough to spread on toast. He's buying me drinks to keep tabs. Me being the kind of guy who'd accept free gas even if it came from a skunk's tank, dude. Goes to the bathroom, I ask her if she wants to ditch, she says yes. And my escape plan. The bar next door. Genius. Pure genius, about as subtle as a herd of water buffalo in a library. We're doing making out. Romantic as a truck stop restroom. Finally ask her if she wants to leave, she says your hotel. So we step outside, and there's the dude missing teeth, looking like he'd wrestled a badger for a biscuit and lost. Where the fuck do you think you're going? I admit the plan. Gonna bang her and fly back to New York, he says. Fight me first. Suddenly those teeth looking mighty important. I ain't no dummy, ain't ever had sex and thought, man, glad she ain't got teeth.
Like, who needs applesauce? I go into the hotel, grab me a Macintosh. I tell him I ain't gonna fight. He calls me a pussy. Then she leaves with him. Some weird arrangement, and then this dude in a white sweatsuit like a marshmallow peep escaped from Easter. Not sittin', not standin', just kinda perched. Loudly announces, I wasn't gonna let anything happen to you. Claims he polices this. Not a cop, but a vigilante. The white knight drunk me's like, hell yeah, this guy's legit with a name, protects downtown Cleveland. Been stabbed twice, does it 'cause he loves Cleveland. Crazy but loyal, like a squirrel trying to bury a nut in concrete. Horrible trade for LeBron, but loyalty, you know? We stroll past the club, he sees my poster, says he could never do comedy. I say I could never do illegal and strange and alarming. A mutual admiration society asks why I don't have a Valentine. I say life choices and career. He says, me too. We're practically twins. Just one wears pajamas and the other tells dick jokes. He walks me back, says he's coming to the show. Exchanges information 'cause you gotta network even with superheroes. Wake up next morning, hangover the size of Texas. White knight email, gotta be him. Don't know that many, says he can't make the show. Sincerely, your new friend and fan, the White Knight Joshua. Makes me happy. Jews underrepresented as superheroes. Like finding a vegetarian at a barbecue. Emails bounce back, he's like Batman disappearing into the shadows via email. Years pass, then bam, another email. White Knight subject line. I reply, saw you on Conan, he's still out there. Then comes the kicker. He's married with a kid. Living in the suburbs. Traded white knighting for minivans. And soccer practice. Traitor. I tell him I'm in Naples. He says Italy. I say, yeah, guess even superheroes gotta grow up and face the fact that sometimes the real battle is getting the kids to eat their dang vegetables. Ain't that the truth?
Growing up back in the holler, we had this old hound dog. Blue, dumber than a box of rocks soaked in moonshine, I swear. The dog thought a vacuum cleaner was the devil himself. Would bark at it till he passed out, bless his heart. Reminded me of my Aunt Tammy trying to work a smartphone. Just pure, unadulterated panic. But Blue, he had this one trick. See a squirrel, he'd chase it right up a tree, then just sit there, wagging his tail, barking at the branches like he was waiting on a winning lottery ticket. Which brings me to this fella, Craig. Met him at the bank. Not a teller, not security, just loitering. Like a scarecrow forgot its job. I said, how you doing, out of southern politeness, you know, the kind Granny drilled into you for she hit the hard stuff. And this dude, Craig, launches into a dissertation on his upcoming trip to Virginia, like I'm his damn travel agent or something. Turns out he's visiting his sister after 15 years. Never been before. I'm thinking, buddy, you got more baggage than a Kardashian going to a yard sale, and he just drones on monuments and whatnot, and I'm trapped, man, like a possum in a parking lot, wanting to scream, I just want to deposit this check so I can buy more jerky, leave me be. But he's got me cornered, this social vampire, and he actually says, I'll be here when you walk out. Like it's a threat, not a promise, and that's when it hit me, this whole how you doing thing. It's a social contract, a gentle dance. Not an invitation to your therapy session. You got to keep it light, people, like a firefly on a summer night. Fine or great is all you need. Anything else is like showing up to a potluck with a plate of roadkill. Just ain't right. So next time somebody asks, remember Craig and keep it brief. Unless, of course, you want to unleash the hounds of hell on an unsuspecting stranger, then by all means tell him about your bunions. I tell you what, a few weeks back, my email got ransacked at like a trailer park after a tornado, but it had this weird silver lining, you know. It was one of them deals where they crack into your digital mailbox and start slinging spam links to everybody you ever even side-eyed in your address book. So basically, I became a digital typhoid Mary, spreading a rash of weirdness to all my contacts, which honestly was kind of like killing two birds with one stone because I'm terrible at keeping up with folks. I'm like a hermit crab with a smartphone. Consider it my Christmas card for the year, a digital thinking of you with a hint of identity theft. And then, bless their cotton socks, everybody emailed back to tell me I'd been hacked. It was like a digital baby shower, folks, crawling out of the woodwork to send their well wishes and warnings. Email viruses, man, they bring folks together in ways you wouldn't believe, like a potluck after a hurricane. Now get this, one fella I know, bless his heart, emails me back saying, I quote, hey, clicked on the link you sent. Don't want to buy any herbal Viagra. Dead serious, this ain't no comedian. I've known him 17 years. He's dumber than a box of hair. That's the long and short of it. So a few things tickled me about this whole shebang.
First off, who in the name of Dale Earnhardt still clicks on spam links? And this link, mind you, looked like it was cooked up in a meth lab, dollar signs and swastikas, like HPV wrote a website. He gets this in a blank email and thinks, yep, that's the ticket. Clicks on it with gusto and then gets whisked away to a website selling this herbal Viagra. And his first thought is, Theo's getting into the snake oil business. But you know what kind of stung my biscuit? The thought that he figured that's how I'd hawk herbal Viagra, like I'm some kind of backwoods huckster just dropping links in blank emails with the subject line, check this out, which, by the way, ain't never been said by me in my entire life. If I was going to spam everybody I ever met about some shady new hustle, I'd pen a damn novel of an intro letter first. Dear friends and family, comedy didn't pan out. Turns out folks ain't paying to hear about my childhood in rural Louisiana. But have you ever hankered for some Viagra, but feared the side effects of the non-herbal kinda? Well, me and my Cayman Islands business partners got the remedy. Click on the swastika below and be whisked away to the world's ugliest website. Hope you can read pink on purple, because that's the layout we chose. Thank you, and may the Lord be with you. That's how I roll. Ain't no half-stepping. And speaking of time, I crossed the 30-year mark recently, which changes how you watch movies, you know? When I was a rugrat watching action flicks, I'd identify with the hero, the fella trying to save the day. Now, I only relate to the side characters, the ones rolling their eyes in the corner like the dudes who'd have to deal with Spider-Man's dry cleaning. That's where I'm at now. You know who my hero was growing up? Michael J. Fox's Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Love that dude. Want to be him. But I watched that movie again recently, and Marty McFly is a 17-year-old high school student. His best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist. And I swear to God, they never explain how they became friends. And we were all just cool with it. Nobody batted an eye. We were just like, who's his best friend? A disgraced nuclear physicist? Okay, yeah, proceed. Yep, that checks out. Proceed with the movie. Back to the Future is a classic, no doubt, but it's a downright bizarre movie. I'm telling you. Imagine the pitch meeting. Two fellas strolling into a movie studio saying, okay, we got an idea for the next big family action movie. It's about a fella named Marty. He's a high school student. Real lazy. Always sleeping late. The studio guys are like, okay, is he cool like Ferris Bueller? And the writers are like, nah, but he's got a best friend. Yeah? Who's that? Oh, just a disgraced nuclear physicist. I'm sorry, is this another student? Oh, no. This other guy's like 40 or 80. We ain't sure how old he's supposed to be. Anyway, so one day, the boy and the scientist, they build a time machine. Whoa. Okay, I see where this is going. Let me guess. They build a time machine and go back in time and stop the Kennedy assassination. Oh, no. It's a real good idea. We didn't even think of that. Okay, well, what do they do with the time machine? Well, now I'm embarrassed to say. All right, here goes nothing. We thought it'd be fun if the boy, went back in time and tried to make moves on his own mama. So we thought that'd be a hoot. And then, oh yeah, no, but don't worry, he doesn't actually get to Netflix and chill with his mom because this family friend named Biff shows up and tries to have his way with her in front of the son. And then the dad, he has to defend her honor. And we're also going to say that a white man wrote Johnny B. Good, so we're going to take that away from them too, just for kicks. Well, this sounds like a fantastic movie. We are definitely going to make this. Now, you say they go to the past. You want to call it Back to the Past? No. Back to the Future. Right, but they go to the past.
Yeah.
But it's like, what in the sweet tea is going on? Well, hey there, folks. Let me tell you, a couple weeks back, my email got hacked, which honestly felt like getting invited to a fancy party because I'm terrible at keeping in touch. So suddenly sending a spam link to everyone I know felt like my civic duty, my annual Christmas card, if you will. And bless their hearts, they all wrote back like I just birthed triplets, all screaming, didn't know your cyber uterus is bleeding viruses. Brought us closer than a Tupperware party after a tornado. And then this one fella, bless his simple soul, emails me, says, Theo, buddy, clicked your link, but I ain't in the market for no herbal Viagra. And this ain't no comedian, folks. This is pure unadulterated West Virginia logic after 17 years of friendship. And it got me thinking, first off, who in God's green earth still clicks a spam link that looks like a dollar sign, had a baby with a swastika, and named it malware? I'm talking if HPV was a website, this was it. But no, he saw that blank email, subject line, reading, check this out, which, let's be honest, I ain't ever uttered in my life, and thought, all right, Theo's peddling snake oil, which is insulting because if I was going to shill herbal Viagra to my entire contact list, it wouldn't be a 2-column email blast. I'd craft a goddamn novel, something like Dear Friends, Famlin, Folks I met at that all-night Waffle House in '09, comedy's gone south, and my Cayman Island business partners, and I have concocted a miracle cure for bedroom blues. Click the swastika for the world's ugliest website, pink on purple, just how we like it. See, gotta sell the dream, you know. Anyway, turned 30 recently, watching movies different now. Used to root for the hero, now I'm vibing with the side characters, the ones rolling their eyes like, oh great, another Spider-Man, feeling like I'm watching a squirrel try to parallel park. Reminds me of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. That was my jam. Wanted to be Marty McFly, but watch that movie again. And it's wild, this 17-year-old kid's best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist, and nobody bats an eye. We're all just like, yup, checks out, like seeing a cat driving a track. That movie is bananas. Imagine pitching that in a studio, like, alright, family action movie, lazy high school kid, sleeps in, but get this, his best friend's a disgraced nuclear physicist. No, not a student, a 40-year-old weirdo, and the studio execs nod. Okay, they build a time machine, stop the Kennedy assassination, and you gotta swallow your pride, say, nah man, he goes back in time, tries to hook up with his mom, watch their faces, but don't worry, Biff shows up, tries to assault her, dad saves the day, and we're saying a white guy wrote Johnny B. Good, and some head green like that. That's Hollywood, folks, like a raccoon running a bank. Only in America they ask if it's Back to the Past, but you gotta stick to your guns. No, Back to the Future, 'cause only in a movie can you have a disgraced nuclear physicist and a horny time-traveling teenager in the same frame. It's like a fever dream in a can, like putting ketchup on grits, just plain wrong but undeniably entertaining. And people ask me if I smoke marijuana. I tell I don't need another reason to crave Cheetos. I already crave Cheetos like a dog chases a mail truck. You ever see a dude hit on a girl by yelling at her through a crowd? Hey, you with the tits, move it, losers. I'm Granos. That's the world we live in, folks. A world where disgraced nuclear physicists are best friends with horny teenagers and Greg yells at women from across the room. Bless their hearts.
All right, folks, let me tell you something. Reminds me of my cousin Billy Bob, bless his heart, used to catch catfish with his bare hands down at the bayou, slick as a Ollicott's promise. And one time he reels in this monster, this flathead looking like it swallowed a bowling ball. And Billy Bob, he just stares at it, eyes wide as saucers, and says, why ain't you just something? Which is exactly what I thought when I saw this study, right? About how social media, that dang thing, is making us lonely, like a hound dog on a chain, you know? They say folks compare themselves to these Instagram models, these perfectly filtered lives, thinking everyone's living in a damn magazine, which is bullcrap. Because I'm pretty sure half of them are using so much Photoshop they look like aliens trying to pass as humans at a Walmart convention. And it's making them feel bad, like they ain't good enough, which is a dang shame, because everyone's got something special, like my Aunt Mildred's potato salad. Looks like roadkill but tastes like heaven, so they're feeling left out, disconnected, like a landline in a cell phone world, and spending all their time online, looking for likes, instead of actually talking to folks face to face. Real human connection, like a hug from your grandma after a long day of shoveling manure. And it's a vicious cycle, a hamster wheel of sadness, where you just keep running and running but never get anywhere, never find true happiness, which, let's be honest, is probably just a warm plate of cornbread and a good dog anyway. So what I'm saying is, put down your phone, folks, go outside, talk to a neighbor, pet a stray cat, maybe even learn to catch catfish with your bare hand, 'cause life's too short to spend it chasing digital ghosts. And besides, that catfish might just teach you a thing or two about resilience, or at least give you a good story to tell next time you're standing in line at the Piggly Wiggly, trying not to compare your groceries to Miss Henderson's organic kale, which, let's face it, ain't never gonna happen, 'cause I am a simple man, and I like my Mountain Dew. Just don't be like my Uncle Dale, who thought the internet was a series of tubes, God rest his soul. All right, so I was back home in Louisiana last week, right? And my cousin Earl, bless his heart, he's got this whole thing about wasps. Like, he's convinced they're government drones or something, so he's out there with a badminton racket swinging like he's playing Wimbledon against the deep state. And he says to me, he goes, Theo, you got to get wasp spray. It's the ultimate defense. Now, Earl's a good dude, but he also believes Bigfoot's running a meth lab in the Washington National Forest, so I take his advice with a grain of that pink Himalayan salt, you know, the kind that rich folks think makes their water taste better, but it's really just salt anyway.
This whole wasp spray thing, it reminds me of that time I saw a dude try to rob a convenience store with a rubber chicken, thought he was being all sneaky, but the cashier just started laughing. Point is, some things just ain't gonna work, like Earl's wasp killing strategy or trying to pay your taxes with Monopoly money. See, that's how this whole sex offender situation is. People think, oh, I'll just blast him with wasp spray, that'll teach him. But hold on there, Skippy, that stuff's for wasps, and even then, Earl ain't had much luck. Plus, you're going to end up in court with some lawyer charges by the nanosecond, arguing about whether you were defending yourself or just trying to reenact a scene from Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. Pepper spray. That's the real deal. It's like the difference between a rusty butter knife and a ninja sword. One's going to get the job done. The other's going to leave you looking like a fool. And about taking care of business yourself, that's like trying to fix your own car engine after watching one YouTube video. You might think you know what you're doing, but you're probably just going to make things worse. Wear gloves, a mask. That's smart, like wearing a condom to a disco. You're prepared for anything. And this whole shake weight thing, I mean, come on, that's like bringing a spork to a steakhouse. It ain't gonna cut it. Semen's a biohazard. Yeah, that'll get someone's attention, like telling a vegetarian he's about to eat a plate of bacon-wrapped scallops. But honestly, do your thing in your own space, just not in front of the ladies and children. It's like playing the banjo naked on a trampoline. Fun for you maybe, but not a sight for anyone else to see. But don't be ridiculous or anything.
All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me mail you something. Grew up in this town, see, smaller than a gnat's patootie, where the biggest excitement was when the Dollar General got a new shipment of off-brand cheese puffs. My mama, bless her heart, she used to say I had the social skills of a feral cat, for which fair enough, because I preferred hanging with the stray dogs down by the creek, trying to teach them Shakespeare, because, you know, even mutts deserve a little culture. One time, I swear, I saw Old Blue, hound dog, with one ear missing. I swear he almost understood Hamlet's soliloquy, or maybe he just wanted a biscuit. Hard to tell with dogs. They're kind of like politicians, always looking for something. But see, that's how I always been. Connecting dots that ain't even close to each other, like trying to make a gourmet meal out of roadkill and ketchup packets, which, by the way, I actually tried once, don't recommend it. Anyway, all that to say, folks are always asking, Theo, how do you do it? How do you find the funny in everyday life? And I tell them it's like finding a four-leaf clover in a cow pasture. You got to wade through a whole lot of crap first. Which brings me to this thing about, like, people feeling disconnected. Like they're wandering through life wearing socks with sandals, just completely missing the mark, you know? See, we're all just searching for something. A connection, a purpose, maybe just a decent Wi-Fi signal, but we get so caught up in the noise. The Instagram filters and the political arguments that sound like two squirrels fighting over a walnut. We forget to look around and see the actual real deal beauty, the goofy, imperfect, beautifully flawed human connections all around us. And we're so caught up in trying to be somebody else. Some Instagram influencer with a butt the size of a small car and a life that's probably as fake as a $3 bill, that we miss out on the chance to be ourselves. Warts and all. Because let me tell you something, those warts, those flaws, those weird quirks that make you, you are the things that people actually connect with. That's the four-leaf clover. That's the good stuff. That's what makes life worth living. Even if you are wearing socks with sandals. And maybe, just maybe, especially if you are, because hey, at least you're comfortable. And that's more than most people can say. And at the end of the day, ain't that what it's all about? Being comfortable in your own skin, even if it's covered in mosquito bites and smells faintly of fertilizer. Just own it. Be you. Be weird. Be wonderful. And for the love of Pete, stop taking selfies with duck faces. Nobody wants to see that, unless you're actually a duck. Then go wild. Quack it up, baby. Quack it up. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, right? Visiting my Aunt Karen, bless her heart, she still calls the internet the web like it's 1998 and she's got to catch some digital flies in it. And she's showing me these articles on her iPad, screen cracked like a bayou riverbed after a drought. And she's going on about hot moms this and hot moms that. And I'm thinking, Aunt Karen, you're trying to be hip, but you're about as hip as a square dancing convention at a Cracker Barrel. And right, she keeps saying it's the algorithm, but all this online self-care stuff for moms, is it real? It reminds me of this time I saw a raccoon trying to unlock a car door with a Slim Jim. Looked real dedicated, but you knew deep down it wasn't going to work, you know? And I'm not saying moms shouldn't take care of themselves. Lord knows they deserve a vacation to Aruba after birthing a human.
I'm just saying back in my day, which was 81, we saw more moms putting the family ahead of them, like my own mom running on fumes and coffee so dark you could see the future in it, doing the kids' homework, cleaning up puke after a Saturday night wedding, the real mom stuff. So now these hot moms on Instagram, they doing all this yoga and like posing with their kids for the gram. It's all shiny and perfect, but are they teaching them anything useful? Can they even change a tire or tell a squirrel from a chipmunk? It's like, I appreciate the dedication, but you remember that kid falling down videos on YouTube that used to be accidental, like pure unfiltered chaos. Now they staged like a damn Shakespeare play. You see that kid walking toward that hot stove and the parents got the camera out, ready to hit that record button. It's like, go on, touch it, learn from your mistakes. Anything for the clout, which is creepy, really creepy. Makes you wonder when the line of good parenting or just content gets crossed and it's a whole new world.
So I guess all I'm saying is let's bring back the messy, imperfect, real mom moments. The ones that don't get likes but make all the difference. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go sign posters, kiss babies. Maybe learn how to unlock a car with a Slim Jim. Good night, y'all, and remember, stay weird. Man, growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, we only saw All Blacks on TV, like when Jason Momoa shows up at my gym, right? And he's all, Theo, you look different on TV, like a fat piece of, but then we hung out for 12 hours, most genuine dude ever, way more authentic than my own podcast partner, Brett. Like, I swear, Jason and I, we're practically blood brothers now, Anyway, never thought I'd do stand-up in South America, figured I'd be wrestling gators till I croaked, but Buenos Aires, Argentina blew my mind, ate like a king the steak, oh, Lord have mercy. Then Chile was amazing. Lima, Peru, saw some family, good folks. In Mexico City, spicy tacos and sweet people. Flew home, catnap, then bam. 40-day European tour. That's like being shot out of a cannon made of schnitzel. Madrid, Barcelona, Copenhagen, Paris, London, Birmingham, Glasgow. Felt like I was on a dang space shuttle made of baguettes and bangers and ended up in Iceland, ice fire comedy like a Viking funeral for my voice box, And Tom, working for Tom is like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of cow pies. I tell you, the man gets it. Treat your people right, they'll work their tails off. He's got a nose for good folks, surrounds himself with them, trusts them, creates this whole environment where nobody wants to let him down, like a mama bird nudging her chicks. Meeting Tom 14 years ago changed my life more than grits, changed my arteries. He's unconditionally supportive. Best year of my life. Love you, Tom. Feels like he took a chance on me, like finding a 20-year-old jeans, and I can't imagine touring with anyone else. Speaking of, there's Mike Cronin, opens for Tom 4 times this year, probably doesn't remember me, always staring at his phone, but he's proud of Tom, thinks he's a good person, asks for more money. Classic Mike. And then there's Sam, driving for Tom, been thinking long and hard, says he can't say anything good about the man. Reminds me of my Uncle Earl after too much moonshine, says he's mean. Even when he's nice, he's mean, says they work 7 days a week. No time off, hasn't seen his family in 4 years. Then he blows his nose real loud. Gotta do it again. Then serious face, says Tom's a good guy, pleasure to work for, easygoing. But here's the kicker, folks. Sam says Tom isn't funny, which is like saying a dog can't bark. And you know what? Maybe that's the secret. Surround yourself with funny folks and let them shine like fireflies in a mason jar. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get to eat steak in Argentina and laugh your way to Iceland, because life, like a good joke, is all about the setup and the punchline. And sometimes the punchline is just realizing you're surrounded by good people, even if one of them blows his nose really loud. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, we didn't have fancy stuff like, indoor plumbing that worked all the time, but we had Mama's chickens, bless their pea-sized brains. And one time, this rooster, old Cluck Norris, he was meaner than a junkyard dog with a toothache. Anyway, Cluck Norris decided my head was prime pecking real estate, so I'm running, screaming like a banshee, and Mama's yelling, boy, you gotta assert dominance. Show him who's boss. Now, I ain't never been good at bossing nobody except maybe my goldfish, Bubba, rest his soul, so I figured, all right, I'll try it. I square up to Cluck Norris, puff out my chest like I'm trying to audition for a Chippendale show at the VFW, and yell, I'm the boss. Cluck Norris just stares at me, cocks his head, then bam, pecks me right in the dang eyeball, and I'm thinking, this is exactly how my dating life's been, right? You try to assert yourself, be all confident, and some rooster of a situation just comes along and pecks your eye out. It's like that comedian, what's his name, Sam Burrell?
Heard he won some laughing skull thing. Bless his heart. Sounds like something you'd find on a backwoods roadkill menu. Anyway, the point is, dating is a train wreck, I swear. Talking to this girl the other night, sipping my bourbon, and I ain't sharing, mind you, bourbon's like sunshine in a bottle. Only tastes like regret the next morning. She says, that'll put hair on your chest. And I'm thinking, dang, gotta make sure I ain't growing no unexpected fur before I get intimate. Like checking the oil in a beat-up Ford pickup. You just gotta know what you're working with, you know? It's a minefield out there, just like that time I kissed this girl at a party, hammered out of my gourd. She says she has a boyfriend, which is bad enough, but then hits me with the double rejection. Even if I didn't, I wouldn't be interested. Lord have mercy, it's like getting rejected from a job, and then the interviewer says, and you're also too ugly for this plant. Brutal, just brutal.
But hey, my last girlfriend, bless her heart, she was on Ambien, so I never had to wear a condom, which is either a blessing or a sign. I got to invest in a hazmat suit, depending on how you look at it. See, it's like that dad on the elevator with the crying kids. Should have wore a condom, probably didn't pull out. Now he's at the parent-teacher conference getting lectured. Charlie's been misbehaving. He's just got to shrug and say, it's out of my hands, kind of like Cluck Norris pecking my eye. My own dad, met him 2 years ago, family-style restaurant. Ironic much. Should be broken family-style restaurants, right? You walk in, no waiter, just a note that says he left for cigarettes years ago, and for birthdays, instead of singing, they just whisper, we forgot, sorry, we'll make it up to you. And some random dude walks in and says, I don't even work here, I'm just banging the owner. It makes you wonder, you know? Never played catch with my dad, but we played an epic game of hide and seek. He's still hiding. I guess he's good at it. Saw a homeless couple sleeping in the street once. Sad, ain't it? But hey, at least he has a girlfriend. Hope he ain't hitting her, 'cause that ain't domestic violence. That's a street fight, and street fights, well, they ain't pretty. Dating someone now, I think. She stopped shaving her legs. That's how you know it's serious, right? It's like checking the tread on your tires before a long road trip. Gotta be prepared for anything. She asked me my fantasy the other night. I said, I want you to dress like a nurse and tell me I have health insurance. Yeah, pathetic, I know, but honest. The other night, things got wild. She said, fuck me like it's your job. So I started checking my email, seeing when I could clock out. She wasn't impressed. And let's be honest, I keep inside it's going way too long. Like texting my friend Dan, do you want to suck my penis? Only funny to me, and Dan, my girlfriend, not so much. Sent it to her by accident. Awkward Thanksgiving dinner, to say the least.
I miss being single, sometimes especially dating black chicks, but you know, that's a whole different sermon. And the N-word, well, white people created it, black people get to use it, kind of like Magnum condoms, big and intimidating, but not always necessary. Subway story. Last one, I swear, with a girl I was dating, pervert gets on, starts touching himself. She wants me to fight him. I'm thinking, I don't want to get hit with that hand, but she pushes me. I say, excuse me, sir, could you stop that? He says, I wasn't doing that to your girlfriend. I was doing that to you. And I'm right back to that feeling of Cluck Norris pecking my eye. You just never know what kind of rooster's going to come at you in this world, do you?
Oh, man. All right. So, listen, I was thinking about my Uncle Dale. Bless his heart, used to train squirrels to water ski, ain't kidding. Little league skis, garden hose rigged up to a kiddie pool. Pure Louisiana genius right there. But that ain't the story. Nope, it's like, remember them old gas station attendants? The ones who checked your oil and kicked the tires? That's how I feel sometimes trying to piece together this whole abortion doctor situation. Like, how do you end up there, you know? Is there some kind of career day where they hand out pamphlets saying, want to work with tiny humans, but like not really? I mean, what's the graduation speech like? Go forth and prosper, but maybe not. Listen, I ain't judging, just asking questions like a possum looking at a shiny hubcap. Pure curiosity, I dig. But seriously, let me give a shout out to this Helium Club in St. Louis. Feels like home here, better than my grandma's chitlins. And you gotta support real comedy, not just that TikTok garbage, cause I got some buddies coming through. Brian Cowan, Tony Hinchcliffe, these boys are sharper than a badger's claw. But listen, my boy Tom Segura, he's been having a rough time, arthritis of the jaw. Can you believe that? From eating too much, too fast, like a damn garbage disposal choking on a Thanksgiving turkey. Doctors wired his jaw shut. Poor fellow looking like a mumbling woodpecker, can't even tell jokes, gotta slurp his gumbo through a straw in those keto protein bars. Lord have mercy, that's some high-grade suffering right there. He'll be here in July, just got his wires cut fresh as a newborn calf, so y'all show him some love, 'cause that boy is funnier than a screen door on a submarine.
So raise your glass to Tom Segura. May his jaw heal quick and his jokes land harder than a wet sack of flour.
Man, I'm down in Orange County, right? Real deal OC. Not that fake LA garbage. And I hear this story about a chopper dude. Pops built this tour business for 38, like clockwork, then hands it off to his son, American dream kind of stuff, right? Like, son, here's the keys. Don't screw it up. Keep the Von Erichs of helicopter tours going. And the kid's all right, dad, love you too, gonna make you proud. Probably had 4 kids already, that traditional life they push on you. 5 days later, 5 days from balloons, and a congratulatory cake. This kid, he's probably barely got the script down. Like, yeah, folks, look to your left. Beautiful Orange County, 27 miles of beaches. Seatbelts, please. But only one dude shows up for a couple's tour. Red flag, right? But bills gotta get paid. So they hop in, 10 minutes in. This guy just yeets himself out the door like a reverse Houdini, straight into the Pacific. I'm thinking, what in the actual tarnation? 5 days in, this kid's already got a story that'll be on I Shouldn't Be Alive. But turns out, the jumper, a 61-year-old, was riddled with something awful. Chronic pain, doctors throwing up their hands. Figured he'd had enough, and in my book, that's a goddamn hero. He wasn't gonna go out like some sissy overdose on pills while watching The Notebook under Nana's quilt. No, he went full Evel Knievel. Think about it, soaring over the land he loved. Then bam, swan dive to freedom. Shoulda had a cape on, I'm telling ya. He probably had his feet on the dashboard, chugging a Dr. Pepper, not even listening to the tour spiel, just thinking adios. But here's the kicker. The cherry on top of this crazy Sunday, the dude lived 500 feet above the ocean. You'd think that'd be a wrap. But he must have hit the water like Greg Louganis. Minimal splash. Except witnesses said it looked more like a mannequin getting tossed out, so probably a belly flop of epic proportions. Like a seal trying to do a cannonball. But listen, that don't change nothing. The intention was there. I still respect the hell out of this guy. I just feel bad cause on the way down he's probably thinking 3 more seconds of pain, 2 more seconds. Oh God, this is worse. This is way worse. It does have a happy-ish ending though. He passed away later at the hospital. So here's to him, God bless him, and I hope someday I have the sheer audacity to orchestrate a grand finale like that. Even if I botch the landing, just a dude trying to stick it to the man in the sky. Even if he just ends up looking like a big ol' sea pancake. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you about my Aunt Shirley. Sweet lady. Bless her heart. Used to collect porcelain dolls. Hundreds of them. Creepy little buggers staring at her like they knew your deepest, darkest secrets. Anyway, she swore one blinked at her once. Said it was a sign from Elvis, who apparently communicated through antique dolls now. That's about as believable as trying to explain something on the internet these days. It's all just absolutes, like that Kaepernick fella taking a knee, trying to talk about police brutality. Something real, something that needs addressing, but folks just heard knee and saw a flag and lost their dying minds. My brothers fighting in Iraq, they yell like Kaepernick's knee was causing sandstorms or something. It's like trying to explain to a squirrel that acorns are food, not currency. Just ain't gonna happen. Reminds me of trying to get abs. Remember that? Used to think I'm gonna have a 6-pack by summer. Ended up looking like I swallowed a keg. The effort involved. Lord have mercy, personal trainers yelling at you. Chefs making you eat sprouts that taste like sadness. Electrocution making you question your life choices. All for something you can achieve by breathing wrong. Meanwhile, getting fat. Now that's effortless. Just lay on the couch, shoveling in those sweet, salty treasures like a dang gopher. No trainer needed. Just pure unadulterated bliss. See, growing up, my family wasn't exactly huggy. More like 2 cacti trying to dance. Awkward and prickly. First hug I remember was when I moved out, and it was just bam, done. Like 2 parking meters bumping uglies. Haunts me to this day. I gotta yell at that memory sometimes just to shut it up. Shower regret is real. Let me tell you, that's where all the dumb stuff I did in 3rd grade comes back to haunt me. But I asked my mama about the lack of affection. You know what she said? Your daddy didn't want me hugging you boys, might make you gay. Lord have mercy. That's like saying, eating grits will make you speak Cajun. It's just plain wrong. But she was protecting him. See, he was afraid of raising sissies. So he sacrificed our hugs for the sake of machismo. It's twisted, I know, but hear me out. That's family. Right? My dad was trying to improve on his childhood. Probably grew up in a barn where affection was a sign of weakness. So he took it from don't change his diaper, let him wallow in his own filth, to no hugs or else.
And maybe, just maybe, if I ever have a kid, I'll take it one step further. No drama class. I'll yell, not 'cause I hate drama. Well, maybe a little, but 'cause I'm improving on my dad's childhood. Keeping the grit. Tossing the hug phobia, you know? It's not homophobic, folks. Daddy issues. Manifested as a deep-seated fear of velvet costumes and interpretive dance. Unless we at Fame High School. Then throw cottage cheese at everybody.
All right. All right. So I was down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, visiting my uncle Earl, bless his heart. He's got this rooster named Clarence that thinks he's a dang opera singer, just screaming at the moon all night long. Kept me up more than a possum in a laundromat. But anyway, Earl's watching Law and Order, and he's yelling at the TV. They're always stealing stories out of the newspaper, dang varmints. And it got me thinking, like, that one time on SVU, they did that whole sex addiction thing, right? Remember when all them Hollywood types were coming clean, like a bunch of sinners at a revival meeting. So Ice-T, bless his icy soul, he's trying to figure it out, like explaining the internet to a squirrel, and finally it clicks, bam, close up on Ice-T, and he's all, oh, I get it. I mean, like when someone drinks too much moonshine or snorts that white stuff or bets the farm on them crawfish races. And I'm thinking, yeah, Ice-T, you got it, partner. But dang it, I could have watched a whole dang marathon of just Ice-T giving examples, just him sitting there deadpan, like, or when someone chews too much tobacco, or like when someone buys too many porcelain dolls from QVC, or like when someone spends all day polishing their truck, or like when someone hoards too many ketchup packets from McDonald's, you know? Just going on and on, Fade to Black, created by Dick Wolf. Like, that's what addiction is, right? It's just Ice-T listing examples until the sun dies. Anyway, that reminds me of this time I saw a raccoon try to steal a whole bag of powdered donuts from a picnic table. He looked like he was going to explode, and I realized, man, sometimes we're all just raccoons, and those donuts is whatever thing we can't stop chasing in life, so cheers to the donuts, you know? I was at this Cracker Barrel down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Getting me some chicken and dumplings, you know, the real kind that'll clog your arteries faster than a 99 Ford pickup truck with a busted oil pan. And this dude, he's straight up sawing logs in the middle of the show. Just flat out knocked. Drool and all. I'm thinking, man, I can't even sleep at home. Got this $300 pillow that feels like a brick. And this fella's out cold in a public theater. Like he's in his own personal sensory deprivation tank sponsored by NyQuil. Reminds me of my uncle, Earl. Used to fall asleep during Thanksgiving dinner face first in the cranberry sauce. Anyway, nobody touching him. No, sir, not on my watch. Louis C.K. probably wish he could be here to shine to see how he can get away with something on the borderline, but not fully illegal. But the dude, Miguel's his name, 25 years old, working construction. Now, usually that's where I'd launch into the old Mexicans taking our jobs routine, but then I find out he's working in the office construction. I never heard that. That makes him getting replaced by a Chinese or a robot, just straight up AI taking over the whole damn operation. But his boys, they covered for him. Said he was up all night arguing with his girlfriend, probably about some high-stakes Scrabble match or who gets to pick the next song on the jukebox. He bought his ticket himself and he is using it. You know, I haven't slept like that since I was a kid. And the only way I could do that was by going to the church on Sunday. And I know the dude shit in the stalls without any worry. And sleeps right in front of Jesus on Sunday. But I'm thinking, here's this dude, Miguel, living the dream, unconscious and carefree, while I'm up here battling insomnia like it's a goddamn UFC fight. We even dimmed the lights, played some spooky music, felt like a damn exorcism was about to go down, except the demon was just exhaustion. I even yelled, La Policia. Miguel didn't even flinch. I swear he could have been in a coma for 8 years, slumps on his 4th term, and he'd still be snoozing. He wakes up, and I thought he was dead, and he didn't remember anything. I asked, what was your favorite part? And he said, it's over, and now it's Saturday. Turns out the dude does both residential and commercial construction, the whole damn shebang. 25 years old, and worn out already. What's he going to be like when he hits 40? A human-shaped pile of dust held together by duct tape and caffeine. Still, he gave me an idea. Maybe I should start sleeping in public. Get some of that sweet, sweet Miguel level unconsciousness. Maybe even go to church, face Jesus, and shit in a stall like him. Who knows, might just cure my insomnia or at least give me some good material for the next show, but he is not worried about shitting and sleeping in public. Now listen, I grew up in Louisiana, right, where the only thing thicker than the humidity is the judgment at a potluck after church. And let me tell you, even I wouldn't trust myself to wrangle a herd of toddlers single-handedly. It's like trying to herd cats with a fishing pole dipped in molasses. I ain't got that kind of saintly patience those women got, Lord. They can discipline a kid, then go back to their book club like nothing happened, smiling sweeter than a sugared pecan. I'd be hotter than a hound dog chasing a rabbit in July.
See, I try to be nice. I really do. Start off all gentle. Hey, hey, now don't touch that sugar. Then 5 seconds later, I'm morphing into a Cajun drill sergeant yelling, get over here, you little heathen. Put the thing down. I said nah. It's like my blood pressure's tied directly to their level of chaos, and their chaos is usually at 100.
It's my son. Bless his heart when he throws a tantrum. It ain't like a normal kid crying. He does this weird guttural moan like a possum 7 in existential crisis. It's the dumbest thing I ever seen. But it also kind of scares me, I ain't gonna lie. One time I thumped him, just a little one, to knock him off balance. He didn't know what to do, like a squirrel trying to ice skate. But my daughter, she's a whole different breed. That girl's got me wrapped around her little finger tighter than a tick on a coonhound. I spoil her rotten. I admit it. That's what daddies do, right? But the crazy thing is, she knows she can play me. She's like a miniature Machiavelli in a tutu scheming against me and her mama. All right. So let me tell you something about growing up in the bayou. See, we had this pet raccoon, right? Named him Earl, because he looked like my Uncle Earl after a crawfish boil, all red-faced and kind of sideways. Anyway, Earl, bless his heart, he was dumber than a box of rocks, but he knew one thing, survival. And that reminds me, I saw this lady up front here sleeping like a possum in a sunbeam, and it just hit me. We're all just trying to survive, ain't we? Like this guy's trying to get his wife a Mai Tai for her birthday, bless his heart, and she's out cold, probably dreaming about saving lives at the hospital because she's a nurse tech, a real-life superhero, you know? And nurses, man, they're like cops. They deserve to unwind, get a little goofy, because they see some crazy stuff that would turn your hair white faster than a skunk at a Klan rally. But see, here's the thing, right? Everyone, and I mean everyone, gets a little cranky when they're hungry or sleepy. It's a universal truth, like gravity or the fact that grits are delicious. But my grandma used to say, a fed woman is a happy woman, and that's probably why my grandpa kept a jar of pickled okra in his pocket at all times, in case. So maybe this lady ain't cranky. Maybe she's just waiting for a man to finish telling this story, because let's be honest, a good story is like a warm hug on a cold day, or a perfectly fried catfish sandwich with extra tartar sauce. It just hits the spot, you know? And hey, if a little heckling makes it better, then bring it on, baby, because I'm just here to entertain like a banjo-playing monkey at a county fair. Weird, maybe a little offensive, but you won't forget it anytime soon. Man, I remember back home, Shreveport, Louisiana, we had this cat, Cletus, that looked just like a possum wearing a MAGA hat, always yelling about the government. Cletus, bless his heart, thought fluoride in the water was a conspiracy to turn us all into frogs. Frogs, I tell you. And it reminds me of something Shane Gillis said, right? Gillis, that's a name that rings like a rusty old church bell, you know? He had this joke darker than my mama's burnt gumbo about Trump getting shot. Now, I ain't wishing no harm on nobody except maybe mosquitoes and telemarketers. But Gillis painted this picture, see, Trump standing there, mouth running faster than a coon dog after a squirrel, probably bragging about his golf score, then bam, out of nowhere, just goes, like a busted lawnmower. And that's the kind of humor that sticks to your ribs like gravy on a biscuit. It's wrong, but it's funny, like seeing a squirrel wearing underpants. But then Gillis, that wild card, throws Biden in the mix, saying he's so out of it, you could just walk up and boop, tap him on the nose, no security guard even bat an eye, just Mr. President, how the hell are ya? Like, he's a stray dog you just met. It's like, dang, that's savage, almost like comparing a Ferrari to a horse-drawn buggy. Ain't saying it's right, ain't saying it's wrong, just saying it's something makes you think, you know? Makes you think about how weird this whole dang world is, kind of like seeing a cat driving a tractor, pure chaos. All right. Settle down now, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small, the church picnic was the biggest news of the year. Used to be this fella, Cletus, bless his heart, he thought he was a squirrel. Not like, oh, I like acorns, but full-on tree climbing, nut hoarding kind of squirrel. One time, Cletus tried to bury me alive in a pile of leaves because he said I was a rival nut gatherer. That's when I learned, folks, life's a whole lot like a possum in a grocery store parking lot. You never know what kind of mess you're going to get into. Which brings me to John Mulaney. Remember that guy? Emmy winner, Netflix star to the whole shebang. He's playing Madison Square Garden, for crying out loud. But see, Seth Meyers, that sneaky devil, he's got to grill him about his outfits. Mulaney walks out looking like he just wrestled a bear and lost, and Myers is all, where's the suit, Johnny boy? It's like confronting a raccoon for eating your garbage. You know it's wrong, but you secretly admire the audacity. But apparently some folks intervened on Mulaney a while back, said his life was spiraling. And I ain't one to judge. Everyone's got their own brand of crazy, but just seems a tad extreme to critique a man's fashion sense while he's, you know,
dealing with stuff. Myers wants him in a suit, says he looks like he raided the Gap after a bad date. It's like saying a dog wearing pants is civilized, but it's still gonna sniff your crotch, ain't it? Mulaney's like, fine, I'll put on the suit, but you ain't taking me to no fancy tailor. He figures Myers should have had a car waiting, ready to whisk him away for a 2-month fitting. Imagine that, Mulaney, trapped in a tailor shop, surrounded by pins and fabrics like a hummingbird in a butterfly net.
Then Myers starts miking the jacket real serious, like reminiscing about that talk show he co-hosted where apparently they were salaries and bad dressing. That's, man. Picking on a man's wardrobe is like kicking a pregnant mule. Just ain't right. Mulaney, looking like a hostage in a department store mannequin's outfit, says he feels happier. Myers throws in a tie because, television demands conformity. It's like putting a hat on a chicken. It doesn't make it any smarter, just funnier to look at. Then they get to fatherhood. Mulaney's got a 7-month-old Malcolm, apparently a connoisseur of self-inflicted selfie videos. He also claims the kid got him gifts for Father's Day and that Malcolm insisted he wears a damn suit to 30 Rock. Kids these days are getting bossy. Myers tries to relate, mentions his own baby. Then they hit the formula shortage. Oh, Lord, that's when things get real. Mulaney, channeling his inner drug dealer, admits his old instincts kicked in. Fake driver's licenses, Mr. Mustache disguise pretending to be an old Vietnamese lady, all for baby Fago. It's like watching a penguin try to climb a ladder, it's not going to work, but you can't help but admire the effort. And the Amazon stuff, shady as that is, as car salesman's handshake. Mulaney actually tasted the formula to make sure it was the real deal. Now that, folks, that's dedication. It's the kind of parenting that makes you wonder what's next. Maybe teaching the kid how to hotwire a car to get to the diaper aisle faster. It just goes to show whether you're wrestling bears, getting fashion advice from Seth Meyers, or navigating the baby formula black market. Life's a wild ride, and sometimes all you can do is dip your finger in and hope it's the real enzyme, you know what I'm saying? Man, y'all ever been to London, Canada? It's like, bless their hearts, right? They're trying, but it's like naming your kid Elvis Jr. You just set him up for disappointment, Reminds me of this one time. I was at Starbucks trying to be healthy, ordering just a black coffee. And this chirpy barista hits me with the welcome to Starbucks. What can we get you to eat today? I swear it's a conspiracy. They're pushing breakfast sandwiches harder than a used car salesman on payday. I'm thinking, lady, I came here for caffeine, not a guilt trip. I miss the honesty, the brutal, beautiful honesty of In-N-Out Burger. Pull up, order a double-double, animal-style fries and a Coke, and they hit you with the will you be eating in the car. They ain't judging. They know you're about to commit a culinary crime against humanity right there in your Honda Civic. It's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. Yes, it's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. It's like, I need that honesty. Like my dad, Lord rest his soul. He was the same way all the way back to Christmas Day when I was 12. And my sister says she wanted to smoke weed. My dad goes right into these war stories. You want to know what I think about marijuana? I saw one guy at a party with a cigarette. I left immediately. That's the first story, and the second one is about him wanting to murder the Viet Cong for selling it to his Marines. Like nothing in between, no trying it to see what's up, just pure and unadulterated story time with no nuance. It's like religion, ain't it? I respect all faiths, Christian, Muslim, even you Jews doing your thing. But if you're a Scientologist, you can go straight to hell. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana. See, around these guys who thought camouflage was formal wear, Had this buddy Earl, sweetest guy, but dumber than a box of rocks. One time, Earl swore he saw Bigfoot riding a lawnmower down by the bayou. Swear to God. Earl believed anything. But you know what Earl wouldn't believe? Crime documentaries. Nah, he'd rather watch squirrels fight over a pecan. Yeah, I love him. Always have. Even had a date once. Beautiful girl. Real sweet. Until she dropped the bomb that her daddy was all over the John Benet Ramsey case. I swear I forgot all about the date. Just peppered her with questions about the case. Poor girl probably thought I was a weirdo. No second date, naturally. Always wanted to solve a crime, though felt like my calling, kind of like how Earl felt about Bigfoot. So a few months back, I'm home from touring, recreating from shaking hands and pretending to care about other people's problems. I go outside. And my rave for, blessed be its name. It's been violated. Not like a Gone Girl situation, but still, someone had rummaged through it. And get this, they left a hat, a freaking baseball cap. Aha! I yell like I'm finally catching a greased pig at the county fair. I'd been burglarized before, but this was evidence. So I run inside, grab my surgical gloves. Yeah, I own surgical gloves, don't judge. And
a Ziploc bag. Then read something about Dennis Fong messing up the DNA in the OJ case because it got too warm. I wasn't going to be no Dennis Fong ruining evidence with the California sunshine. I carefully bagged that hat, CSI style, even though my car's interior looks like a hobo's backpack after a tornado. Then I stuck that sucker in the fridge, right next to the wilting lettuce, and my wife's leftover quinoa salad she keeps telling me is good. Called the LAPD, stood out front like Deputy Fife, waiting for the cavalry, thinking, don't worry, fellas, Vaughn's on the case. They show up, these two cops looking like they'd rather be eating donuts, ask, what's the situation? I tell them about the break-in. They ask if the window was broken. I told them, nah, I leave it unlocked now because these LA thugs gonna bust a window if I don't. And that's just rude. So they ask what was stolen, and I told them I have no earthly idea what's in my car. It's basically a rotating museum of forgotten sunglasses, old snack wrappers, and my wife's collection of crystals she swear keeps the demons away, but I suspect mostly collects dust under the seat. I say, but this time we gotta break in the case. I led them inside like I'm leading tourists through a creepy haunted house, pulled out the hat like I'm present in the Mona Lisa. He left his hat, I exclaim.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. I ask if they can run it through CODIS, like on Law and Order. Get a hit on the perp. They look at me like I'm speaking Swahili. Why would we do that? They ask. I'm floored because he committed a crime. They were like, barely. You left the car open, nothing was stolen, maybe trespassing, but we ain't running no national DNA search over that. I was flabbergasted. Then like a bolt of lightning hitting a cow pasture, it hit me. I told them, you can frame it as the guy gave you a hat, a thoughtful yet misguided gift from a budding criminal. I am real glass half full type guy, you see. They still didn't budge. Full. I told them, look, this could escalate. It's a there for tomorrow it's an escalade. Then a whole HOA community watch group is dead in the ditch. But I say, Manson, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but he was a lousy guy, right? He started small, creeping around people's houses. Then he got big ideas. So I ask, don't you want this guy's DNA on file before he graduates from petty theft to start a podcast about murdering people in his basement? They were like, what file? What are you talking about? And I said, the one where you keep the DNA of potential murderers. They said the only way they'd need his DNA profile is if, and I jumped in, if he murders somebody. And then I remembered that sometimes serial killers like to help the police, So I just kept talking about this guy in the third person like he was some kind of criminal mastermind. He's cunning, I said, but he will be back. Then I remembered my friend down the street. Her car got broken into too. I told the cops, go talk to her. Tell her to say something was stolen just to get that hat back in the national system, which apparently is framing someone for a crime. But hey, I'm willing to bend the rules to get these guys behind bars. So if you're out there, car thief, know this, you messed with the wrong RAV4. You'll quickly realize I have no valuables, maybe some spare beef jerky and a lot of regret for ordering that weird coffee from the airport and a bunch of dirt on the carpet. Oh, and that's my dirt. So folks, that's the story of how I almost became a forensic genius. But hey, at least I got a good story out of it. And speaking of good stories, Big Mouth is back. It's based on Nick Kroll and Andrew Goldberg's friendship, and it's fantastic. I get to voice Andrew alongside my very good friend Nick Kroll. It's a fantastic show, and I'm excited to announce its second season. All right, folks, let me tell you something. Growing up in Possum Trot, Tennessee, population smaller than a Walmart on a Tuesday night, we didn't have no fancy math groups. No Blue Angels flying high. We just had smart kids and the rest of y'all, and I was definitely hanging out with the rest of y'all. Probably eating a moon pie and trying to figure out why the sky was blue, which, is a deeper question than any algebra equation. I swear it makes you think about stuff like how we're all just dust particles floating in the cosmos, kind of like those folks on Law and Order, always finding dead bodies in New York, which I gotta say I love that show, especially the one where the dude is unloading crates while the detectives are asking him about a triple homicide. Like, sir, your neighbor's been murdered and his cats are missing. And he's like, yeah, Tony Ramirez. Tuesday's box of bananas. I tell you, that reminds me of my Uncle Billy, who wouldn't stop whittling even when a tornado was coming. Said he had a wood spirit to appease anyway. Law and Order's just comfort food. Same story every time, like them Dollar General cookies that are always a little stale, but somehow you still eat them. And then there's Jerry Orbach, Lenny Briscoe himself. That guy was a legend. I miss him more than I miss my Aunt Mildred's potato salad at Thanksgiving, which, let me tell you, was a culinary crime against humanity, bless her heart.
Jerry was the best. Always had that dry wit like a good shot of moonshine on a cold night. And then he went and died. And get this, they gave his eyeballs to 2 different New Yorkers. 2 different people walking around with Jerry Orbach, looking out at the world. Imagine the pressure. I mean, what if one of them starts making those little wisecracks at crime scenes like, looks like someone didn't pass their final exam. That'd be something. Or maybe they both fall in love. Like some kind of bizarre rom-com. Love at first sight. New York. 2 strangers meet, who only share a pair of deceased detectives' eyes. He likes football, she likes stocks, but then they stumble upon a dead body and at the same time they both just blurt out, well, class dismissed, as they gaze into each other's Jerry Orbach-y eyes.
Man, reminds me of my uncle Earl, God rest his soul, used to cut in line at the Piggly Wiggly something fierce, said he was testing their security, which was just his way of saying he didn't want to wait behind Mrs. Higgins and her 800 coupons anyways. I never really thought much about things I do. Like, I take my youngins to the Six Flags, the whole damn Six Flags. We're talking 30, 40 minutes tops. People look at me like I'm Moses dividing the Red Sea with a fanny pack full of hot dogs. But see, I call ahead, got a concierge, like I'm freaking the queen or something. And this fella just walks us right up to the front of every ride, I'm telling you. Done it for years. And I got to tell my kids, look here, this ain't charity. This ain't some kind of Willy Wonka golden ticket situation. This is your old man worked harder than a one-legged cat in a sandbox to get us to the front of these here lines. But there's rules. See, stricter than my grandma's Baptist potluck, rule number 1. And this is paramount. We're strolling past these folks who've been waiting longer than a possum in a pear tree. You do not, and I repeat, do not make eye contact with these heathens. You hear me? Look straight ahead, like you're riding a Clydesdale towards the gates of heaven. Don't glance left, don't glance right, because these folks, they're going to unleash the hounds of hell with their words. They're going to say, I look like I smell a wet dog and regret. They're going to say things about you that'll make you want to join the Amish. But you ignore it. You just let that negativity roll off you like water off a duck's back, because here's the truth, son. When we're back in the Yukon headed home, we ain't never going to see these poor souls again. They're going to be stuck in that line, hotter than a jalapeno in July. Probably still arguing about whether the guy with the Mickey Mouse ears cut him off, and honestly, they're probably going to be in a line for the rest of their lives. Ain't that something? Just a line, folks, just a line.
Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish bait and regret, always wearing a wife beater, even at church, right? Anyway, old Thibodeau, he thought he was a comedian, told jokes that would make a scarecrow blush, but he had this one about a crawfish walking into a bar. Nah, I ain't telling it. It's terrible.
But it reminds me, people are getting so touchy these days. Like, my country's going plumb crazy. You know, Bryan Cranston, that Breaking Bad dude, he played a paralyzed fella in a movie and folks got all riled up saying, why ain't a real paralyzed dude playing it? Like, hello, it's called AC Teching, you dummies. Imagine a paralyzed dude trying to act paralyzed. That's just being still and reading lines. That ain't no performance. Reminds me of my buddy Bill. He's been doing all right for himself, you know? He was in this Pete Davidson movie. Says he didn't get fired, could get cut. You never know, but seems like it went great. First time getting to work with Judd Apatow for real, not just on Pete's show, Crashing, which, by the way, folks should check out next June. Get this, Bill's doing Mandalorian, the Star Wars thing, which is nuts because he's a sports fan. Meathead barely knows what a lightsaber is. I'm like, Bill, you in Star Wars. You know what that's like? It's like when Joe DeRosa met Joe Torre, told me about this guy connected with the Yankees, the manager, Joe Tutelage. I corrected him, it's Torre, and he's all, is he a big guy? Does he make that face? I wanted to strangle him. He just wanted to go buy vintage shirts, so I told Bill, this here payback for me meeting Joe Torre. Now he gotta wear a spacesuit that probably smells like Wookiee armpits, says he can't say much about it, all that Netflix secrecy, but you can see the back of his bald head in the trailer for half a second. That's because his head is a helmet already. Redundant to put a hat on a hat, like a clown wearing a second wig. That's how busy he is. He's finishing up season 4 of F is for Family, but stand-up's always #1, and he's always been generous, you know. Even when I was a nobody at the Comedy Store, he'd watch my sets, give me punchline tips. Always believed in me. Even when I was getting booked on TV shows and forgetting about my own hour, he saw something in me. Cool vibe and knows how to unleash the craze. Not like those guys who just yell and stay loud too long. Nah, Bill knows how to blow them back in their seats, then bring them back down smooth. It's a gift. I brought his name up the store, told everyone he's one of the nicest guys, and he came out and was like, you got to say that? I'm about to rant about people in wheelchairs. That means a lot. Being a newer comic, it's intimidating. But people did it for him, he remembers. Like Dave Chappelle told him something funny back in the early 2000s.
he held on to that like a life raft in the comedy condos and hell rooms for years. Dave thinks I'm funny, he'd tell himself, kept him going. Even in the green room broom closets on the road, Bill said he was funny, carried him through those weekends. When you start out, you're lost, no confirmation, no roadmap, just looking around, seeing what other guys are doing, thinking you got to do the same, ping-ponging from one style to the next. Joe Kai comes in with a street team. Next thing you know, you're thinking you need a street team too, but it was just telling stories back at Nick's Comedy Stop, driving back in from Boston, finding the nearest comic, telling a story, getting a laugh, hearing the older guys telling their stories, wanting to have some yourself, something better than just a bad open mic, and then getting out on the road, hearing your friends suffer. That's where the comedy comes from. So remember, folks, go watch Bill Burr's special Paper Tiger on Netflix. Check out his tour dates at billburr.com. Listen to his Monday morning podcast, one of the best out there. And then maybe, just maybe, go call that weird neighbor you had growing up and tell him their jokes ain't that bad after all. Because honestly, folks, sometimes it's the Thibodeaus of the world that remind us what's truly funny, just like the time he tried to put a hat on a crawfish. Nah, I still can't tell you that one. It's just too dang awful. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana, right? Small town. Like, if you blink, you miss it. And even when you do see it, you probably wish you missed it. We had this guy, Cletus, lived down the road, only had one tooth right in the front, like a dang picket fence with a hole in it. Cletus swore he could talk to squirrels. Said they told him secrets about where the best peckins were. Now, Cletus wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he did have an opinion about everything, just like this lady in the front row here, bless her heart. You know, it reminds me of this whole teacher thing. I was never one to rag on teachers. No, I actually kind of liked them, probably because back then teacher porn was my go-to. Wrecked my after school. Every time my teacher, Miss Crabtree, even looked at me talking about you in a lot of trouble. I'm thinking she trying to seduce me, not tell my mama I drew on the desk again. And now people ask me, Theo, you watch teacher porn? Well, yeah, but it's got to be the right kind of teacher. Nobody want to see some meathead from Staten Island. No offense to anyone from Staten Island, but you know what I'm talking about. But hey, let me ask you something. You ever look at a student, maybe a year out of high school, and think, maybe. Nah, just me. All right. I'm just saying, there's something about that forbidden fruit, that danger, you know? Like dating a PE teacher, they always walking around in sweatpants, giving you that look, thinking what could be. What am I supposed to say? I supposed to say like Staten Island, that's like stepping back into the 1950s. They probably haven't even heard of the Me Too movement yet. But what's the point there? The protection of people like that is almost non-existent. You go there and get eaten alive. Say that those girls will wake up and not even realize how bad they played it off. That or they will be too busy complaining to remember I even said anything. You go there and end up with manic depression, ADHD, just one way to go when people are that far behind, I suppose. All right, so I was at this gas station, see, back in Louisiana, and this dude's got like 3 teeth, right? And he's trying to buy a lottery ticket with a handful of nickels. Probably found him in his truck's ashtray, which, let me tell you, is a biohazard zone down there, like a petri dish of regret and stale beer. And he's arguing with the clerk, this sweet lady with a name tag that said Brenda, future cruise winner, about whether nickels count as legal tender. And I'm thinking, Brenda, just give the man his damn scratch off. It's Tuesday. Anyway, that whole scene just reminded me of this thing I was reading about abortion, right? Which sounds like a wild jump, but stick with me because it's kind of like trying to explain cryptocurrency to my grandma. She just looks at you like you're speaking in dolphin clicks, but it's all about control, see? See, this dude with the nickels, he wants to control his destiny, even if it's just the fleeting hope of winning enough to finally fix his truck's AC. An abortion, it's about a woman controlling her own destiny, her own body, her own future Brenda Cruz winner situation, you know? It's about more than just the procedure itself. It's about the whole damn swamp of politics and religion and opinions that get slathered on it, like crawfishy toofy on a gas station hot dog. You got folks screaming about life, which I get it, life's precious, but so is freedom and choice and not having to name your baby Bubba Jr. the third. It's like we're all just trying to navigate this crazy world with our handful of nickels, hoping to scratch off a little bit of happiness before Brenda gets to cash in on her cruise and leave us all behind to sweat it out in the parking lot. Wondering if we should have just bought that Slim Jim instead. And that, my friends, is why I think abortion is kind of like a gas station lottery ticket. You might not win, but at least you get to choose whether you want to play. All right, so I was down in Loringer Louisiana, see, back when the only thing hotter than the humidity was my aunt Shirley's perm after bingo night. And I swear we had this neighbor, Ehrlich, who claimed he could talk to squirrels, like full on conversations. And Earl, bless his heart, he ran a boat cleaning business, but only in Tampa, Florida, because he said the squirrels there gave him the best business leads, which now that I think about it, might be as believable as cleaning boats in Tampa, but hey, at least it ain't as crazy as my buddy over here selling serial killer tour maps. Like, here's where Dahmer got his dry cleaning done. Real dark tourist stuff, you know. Speaking of dark, my other buddy here reminds me of Gerard Depardieu. Like, the man could be wrestling a bear while eating a wheel of brie, just living life to the fullest. Which brings me to the point. See, if these two fellas were going to get their lives told in a movie, it'd be like casting Zac Efron as one of them, all chiseled and ready to rise, and Ethan Supply as the other, kind of mirroring their style, yeah. Now back when Ethan Supply was still in his prime, before all the weight loss, before he could show off his shoulders on Baywatch. And let me tell you, these boys here, their lives, it's like a breakfast of champions, all right? More like coffee, burger, powerlifting, pizza, coffee, chicken wings, and podcasts. Italian food and edibles, and never-ending edible sleep, a breakfast sandwich versus an Italian turkey with extra meat, like spicy Italian at Subway but with turkey and ham. You know, put these fellas in a horror movie, it'd be all suck and stick or scream and run. But honestly, they do the opposite of what they're told, screaming as loud as possible, running like hell, until it starts attacking and the other one is there. You know what? That's how it would go, I promise. If we raided their fridge right now, we'd find mayo, Kool-Aid, and Diet Coke, pizza, beer, and Diet Coke, a whole damn ecosystem of questionable choices. And who'd be the first to take a sip? Definitely me. I'd be like, there's got to be some alcohol in this, right? Hey, have you had a drink? Let me drink your piss. I hope you learned something about the power of friendship, because we sure did. And you can find my wilderness antics on Netflix. The Cabin. All right, so next time you and your friends are in the woods just trying to chill, remember, if you happen across a bunch of pissed off squirrels, there is definitely an Earl nearby.
So, I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl's got this pet raccoon named Stinky. Swears it can predict the weather anyhow. We were jawing about comedians, right? Like, who'd be good to run for something, anything really, maybe even head of the homeowners association. The names they threw out, bless their cotton socks, Jon Stewart, sure. Makes sense, smart fella. Always got something to say. But then, bam, Bill Cosby out of left field. I mean, dang it, it's like suggesting your grandma for an MMA fight. Said something like, get him out of jail. Which, last I checked, Cosby's either too old or they already let him out. Maybe he's touring retirement homes with a Jell-O pudding show, who knows. I even saw Cosby do stand-up at a Jon Stewart benefit thing once. Wounded Warrior Project, before the whole pudding pop parade went south. And let me tell you, that act was darker than a black bear's armpit on a moonless less. I'm talking deep, unsettling. You're waiting for the punchline, but it just keeps getting more existential, like watching a squirrel try to bury a nut in concrete. Now, I ain't remember the specifics, something about cough syrup and airplane food, or maybe it was the other way around. It was before the accusations, like ancient history, so we were all kind of, sure, Bill, knock yourself out, thinking it was just regular old comedy, but now, looking back, that performance was a straight-up cry for help disguised as a Jell-O joke. And that's the thing about comedy, ain't it? It's like a canary in a coal mine. You can sense when someone's in a dark place. Kind of like Earl's raccoon Stinky when it starts hiding all the shiny objects. Right before a tornado, just a little unsettling feeling deep down in your gut that something's about to go sideways.
All right. Settle down, folks. You're looking good tonight. Real good. Reminds me of my cousin Skeeter's prize-winning hog, Mabel, all dressed up for the county fair. Shiny, expectant eyes, just hoping for a blue ribbon. Speaking of ribbons, I was helping my grandma, bless her heart, tie up her tomato plants last summer, and she says, Theo, life's like a tomato plant.
You gotta stake it, give it support, otherwise it'll just sprawl all over the place, getting all tangled up in the weeds. Now, Grandma's a smart woman, but sometimes she chefs in riddles like she's Yoda wearing a floral apron. They got me thinking about this Tom Brady fella. See, the GOAT, right? GOAT, they call him greatest of all time white guy, which, let me tell you, down in Louisiana, that's just a Tuesday. All right, settle down, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something.
See, I had this buddy back home, Cletus, bless his heart. Cletus thought he was John Mulaney's cousin or something. He'd walk around yelling sack lunch bunch like he invented sliced bread.
The sack lunch bunch. Cletus couldn't rhyme if you glued a dictionary to his forehead. Reminded me of that time I tried to teach my grandma's Chihuahua Pee-wee to play the harmonica. Disaster. So anyway, Mulaney calls it the sack lunch bunch, and Cletus is running around like he invented it. I remember when I was a latchkey kid, back when that was a bad thing. Like, the news would show these sad kids looking lonely, and I'm over here living my best life, watching He-Man and eating peanut butter straight from the jar. They acted like us latchkey kids were going to burn the house down or join a cult. But we were just trying to survive on TV dinners and the wisdom of the Thundercats. And Mulaney's got the sack lunch bunch with 2 words rhyming, which is about as much rhyming as Cletus can manage after a 6-pack of Mountain Dew.
They got Eli Bolin doing the music, and tell you what, that's just plain beautiful. I wrote a song with Justin Timberlake once, won an Emmy. Now the ballad said Justin Timberlake song, and below it was Mother Lover, which was a banger. I'm telling you, it was like those confusing ballads they got down in Palm Beach, Florida. Like Justin Timberlake song, then a way more famous Justin Timberlake song. People probably voted for the wrong one. That's why I always tell people to just vote for the guy. I had the best hat. Grandma's boyfriend, Paul. Now there's a tune for you. And noodles and a little bit of butter. I think that's my kind of fancy eating. Then there's Do Flowers Exist at Night. That right there, that hits me in the feels. Mulaney says he can't picture a flower at night, and honestly, neither can I. I lay in bed thinking about that stuff. What about those tulips in front of my house when I was 9? What were they doing at night? Were they sleeping? Were they plotting against me? My brain is just a swamp of weird thoughts. You know, if you worked with kids on set, which, Lord have mercy, my friend, Dr. Kitty McPotch always says never work with children and animals. Kitty McPotch, yeah, she treats kids and animals, probably seen it all. But Mulaney, he don't deadle, and he's got 15 kids, and they're all hyped up, supporting each other, more mature than the folks at SNL. Bless their hearts. But those kids get riled up, yelling toilet mark at the clapboard, and Reese Thomas, the director, who's worked with everyone, asks them if they behave like that at school. And one kid goes, "We don't go to school. That's how you know you're in trouble." Richard Kine's in it too, a legend. But Mulaney wanted Michael Dukakis. Dukakis! Back when I was 6, he was huge. Mulaney wanted Dukakis to deliver a letter and be cheered for 30 seconds straight. Now that's the kind of comedy I like. He didn't get a script because Mulaney was delaying. Poor Dukakis forgotten. We all forgot about him. Half the country wanted him president, and they just banished him. All I remember is him riding around on that tank with the helmet on, looking like a confused turtle. And that was bad. They made him look like an idiot. And it's like nowadays, if Mulaney ran for president, they just take that pediatrician vet joke, slow it down, and be like, look at this idiot, and he'd be done for. Still over you, John Mulaney. Man, reminds me of when I was a kid back in Louisiana. I used to trap muskrats with my cousin, Bobby Lee. He always had the craziest ideas. Like, one time he thought he could train him to fetch beer from the fridge. Didn't work out, but it always felt like we were Chip and Dale, just trying to survive in the swamp, you know? Speaking of Chip and Dale, that reminds me of bathrooms. And I got to tell you, I had a toilet flush in my house yesterday. Sounded like someone was singing Happy Birthday. I swear I thought a ghost was throwing a party in the pipes. It was spooky, I tell you, but not as spooky as having to tell your date that the only way out of the bathroom is through the... Well, you get the picture, right? It's like that scene in Rescue Rangers where they got to go down the toilet. Live a little, they say, and you know, sometimes life's like that. You got to just jump in the porcelain. Metaphorically speaking, of course, like how Disney's premiere is next door and they're inviting everyone. Which is just like Bobby Lee inviting all the raccoons to our crawfish boil. Utter chaos. Anyway, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Disney Plus, Friday, no theaters. Which is a real shame, because imagine watching that on the big screen. Feels a little like watching it in a bathroom. Kinda immersive, right? But hey, at least Cheryl Hines is going to be there. Probably not in a toilet, though. But hey, at least it's not in theaters, because you know what that means? I don't have to take off my house shoes. Now ain't that something? So I was at this crawfish boil back home, right? Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, tries to deep fry a whole watermelon. I swear to God, he saw it on Pinterest. Anyway, it explodes like a damn grenade, watermelon shrapnel everywhere. Nobody gets hurt, just covered in sugary goo and regret, mostly Bobby's. Reminded me of this one time I wrestled a gator at a church camp. Don't ask. But it got me thinking about the Travel Channel, which... Yeah, they call me a professional fun seeker. Sounds like something a robot would say after its programming goes haywire. I'd rather be called professional dumbass because at least that sounds like me. I ain't fought no bear despite what the internet says, though I did once try to teach a possum to play the banjo. That's a story for another time and another bottle of sweet tea, but the Travel Channel's website is worse than dial-up internet at a Walmart parking lot. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Gene, grew up in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake, more humidity than a frog's armpit. I had this buddy, Earl, bless his heart. Earl thought he was a Ninja Turtle. Not like the cool kind, like the sewer rat kind, you know? Always wearing green, heading in the ditch, eating whatever crawled by. Now Earl, he was convinced he was saving the city, even though the biggest crime we had was Mrs. Higgins' cat stealing Mr. Thibodeau's shrimp. Man, college, right? I swear, I just got a letter from my alma mater. Felt like Christmas morning, kind of, you know, until I opened that sucker up. Said, hey, Theo, remember us. We're the reason you're in debt. Just kidding, mostly. Then they hit me with this line, and I'm paraphrasing here because I threw the damn thing in the trash after, but it was basically, hey, cough up some dough. We want a gift, but, you know, only if it jingles. Now, I'm no mathematician, but back when I was slurping ramen in that glorified daycare, I was forking over about 15 grand a semester, twice a year for 4 years. Do the math, folks. That's like 120,000 clams. I practically bought the damn library. So, excuse my French, but are you telling me that after I essentially funded a small African nation's GDP with my tuition, you got the audacity, the sheer nerve to ask for more? What is this, a hostage situation? I feel like I'm dealing with my cousin Gary. You know, Gary. Showed up to Thanksgiving wearing a wife beater asking for $20 for gas, even though his car's been up on blocks in the yard since the I2K.
Where's that money even go, college?
Did you build a solid gold statue of the dean? Is there a secret underground bowling alley I never knew about? I bet it all went into those stupid study abroad programs where kids go to Italy and take pictures of pizza. Meanwhile, I'm eating ketchup packets in the library, trying to decipher Shakespeare with a hangover the size of Louisiana. I got buddies, they're all, Theo, be a good alum. Donate. They even wear the college t-shirt like they're still trying to impress their RA. Look, if you're a grown man still sending money to your old college, that's like still paying your ex-girlfriend's rent. She ain't coming back, buddy. You're just enabling her kombucha habit. That college, that's a $120,000 hooker and you fell in love with her. In the letter, they were all like, it's been a while since you donated. I felt like firing back. It's been a while since you housed and educated me. I thought we had a deal. I gave you my money. You gave me a piece of paper and a crippling sense of inadequacy, but they gave me this cinder block room, smelled like stale beer and regret, covered in a Reservoir Dogs poster and the first real heartbreak of my life and probably HPV. And that's it. That's the ROI? Man, what even is college? Seriously, somebody tell me, because I went and I still ain't got a clue. I was 18, looked like a thumb with hair, living like a Ninja Turtle on a diet of cigarettes, Adderall and Natty Light. It was a 4-year-long game show. Do my friends hate me or do I just need to sleep? But instead of winning money, you just lose a fortune. And the kicker? I agreed to this deal when I was 17, no lawyer present, wearing sweatpants with pizza sauce on the knee. That's gotta be illegal, right? They tricked me like Brendan Dassey on Making a Murderer. Pulled me out of high school, 2 guys in clip-on ties like, come on, son, do the right thing, sign here, you'll be an English major. And I fell for it. An English major. 120 grand so some professor could tell me to read Jane Austen and then I didn't. Y'all can laugh, but that's the worst financial decision I ever made, and I once bought a used jet ski from a guy named Bubba who claimed it was slightly haunted. All right, so check this out. I was back home in Hartsville, South Carolina, where the fireflies are brighter than your future and the church is the main form of entertainment. And my buddy Billy Bob, now Billy Bob, bless his heart, he believed he was a direct descendant of Davy Crockett. Only instead of a coonskin cap, he wore a fedora he found at the Piggly Wiggly Lost and Found, and instead of fighting bears, he wrestled raccoons in his backyard, kept them as pets, named him after country singers, had a whole dang family of Whalens and Tammys living under his porch. Anyway, Billy Bob, he gets it in his head that he's going to start a kissing booth at the county fair, charges a nickel a smooch, says he's got lips touched by the angels, but the only angel touching those lips was probably Aunt Shirley after one too many communion wines. Point is, nobody's paying Billy Halle Bob to kiss him, not even the hogs, which brings me to this Halle Berry thing. See, I got Halle Berry, Academy Award winning Halle Berry on my movie, right? And she's down there, and I'm thinking, Kev, you mess around and kiss this woman right now, or you're going to regret it till you die, because this isn't just any kiss. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience lips sculpted by the gods, lips that probably taste like, I know, sunshine and privilege, and I almost choked, right? I almost turned down kissing Halle Berry, like telling a waitress you don't want free pie, because I was engaged at the time, and I didn't want her thinking I was some kind of heathen or something, like, oh, this dude just used me to get with Halle Berry, what a dirtbag. And she was so sweet, man. Halle Berry's like a unicorn mixed with a bottle of champagne and a dash of sassy grandma. She came on set, killed it, brought a level of magic only Halle Berry can. And I'm there the whole time thinking it was a big deal that she was in my film, and then I realized it was a big deal for her to be in the film, because it's Halle Berry doing a version of Halle Berry no one's ever seen, which is the real treasure. But I'm still kicking myself now. Should have just gone for it. Should have risked it all for a taste of those legendary lips. I mean, let's be real. I was sporting lumber the entire time. Felt like I had a dang flagpole down there. I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you, so we got it edited out. Thank God for post-production, but lesson learned, always kiss Halle Berry if given the opportunity, because life is too short to play it safe. And who knows, maybe those lips actually do smell like roses and cinnamon. A real heartbreaker. Anyway, the whole point of the movie is my dog, but now you all are being racist, which isn't good, which you can see in Kevin Hart, What Now, only in theaters.
So there I was back in Louisiana, right? And my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's got this theory about lubes. You see, he reckons women got a secret stash, squirrel hiding nuts for winter, but it's KY jelly, man, just waiting for the opportune moment to unleash it. Sneaky like a gator in the swamp, and it all ties into this whole nasty thing, because Dale says women got this unlimited supply of it, like bottomless crawfish etouffee, but men were running on fumes, you dig? We start out all fired up, thinking we're going to reinvent the wheel and maybe even mount a brick on the gas pedal and let the car ghost ride while we're out there buck naked, just pure unadulterated Louisiana crazy. But then reality hits like a mosquito the size of a damn hummingbird, and suddenly we're reaching for the blow dryer, trying to figure out how to spice things up, because the imagination wells run dry, emptier than a church on Saturday night, and you're thinking, Lord, maybe the cat and the dog can settle this argument, because that's how far gone we get, just grasping at straws, you feel me? Which brings me to this whole double date thing. See, it's a competition, plain and simple, like two roosters in a chicken coop, one little kiss and bam, it's on. She's looking at you like you owe her a damn diamond ring. And the only way to win is to go full tilt boogie, which, let's be honest, ain't always the best course of action, because women, they talk, they share, they dissect. It's like a goddamn autopsy on your relationship, and next thing you know, at least I don't eat ass is flying across the table like a stray firework, and you're sitting there with the U8 ass face contemplating your life choices, wondering how you ended up in this godforsaken mess, wishing you could just disappear into the nearest plate of jambalaya. And then there's Ray, bless his heart, always with the damn resume. I got 3 movies coming out, they all hot, like I give a damn what time it is, D. Ray, I just want to know the time. And then Harry, man, don't even get me started on Harry. He's got more tats than teeth and a whole lot of attitude, telling people not to touch him unless they want to see his other 6 tattoos that represent, I'm not going to say what, but let's just say it involves a dirt nap. All this just to tell you, even though I'm like a Kevin Hart of the South, there is always someone who believes he has more bodies ready to get stacked. So just remember to be kind and tell the crazy man he's looking good, and then slowly back away. Oh, and hide your ass.
Man, last night was something, felt like I was wrestling a greased up pig in a mud pit of tequila and regret, you know? But now got to trade the party hat for the daddy diaper bag, because my whole damn family's got the tummy rumbles worse than a biker gang convention after a chili cook-off. And I got to be dad, which, let me tell you, is like asking a squirrel to pilot a spaceship. Ain't nobody ready for that kind of chaos. I'm the kind of dad who'd fart in a McDonald's cup, slap my hand over it like I caught a damn firefly, and then walk it over to my daughters all serious like, saying, girls, you ain't gonna believe this, but I just captured a few. Now I know what you're thinking, Theo. That's messed up. That's pure trailer park parenting. But hear me out. It's comedy, see? Because when they look in that cup expecting something magical, something like a tiny unicorn fart or whatever little girls dream about, and they just get a whiff of my swamp gas, their faces are priceless, like watching a puppy try to solve a Rubik's Cube. That's when you got to explain it to them. So you got to break it down, telling girls, daddy's teaching you comedies on 101. It's all about ace direction, see? You thought you were getting fairy dust, but bam, fart cloud. They didn't get it. Of course, they ran to their mama, snitching like a couple of church mice, telling her I was making them eat farts, which ain't true. It was more of a forced aromatherapy session if you want to get technical. And my wife blew a gasket, said I was scaring the kids. But I told her, I said, honey, you want equality in the workplace, you got to be able to take a fart to the face. It's like being initiated into the brotherhood of man. Every fella in this room knows what I'm talking about. But the best part, next morning, my youngest, that little hellion, is straddling my neck, trying to suffocate me with her tiny, slobbery self, while my older one's standing by, all innocent like, saying, Daddy, wake up, we got a joke for you. I opened my eyes, half expecting to see they found my grandpa's old hunting rifle or something, but no, the little ankle biter says, guess what's in my hand, and I'm panicking, right? But then it dawns on me, every dad knows what's in her hand. It's the universal weapon of childhood. The silent but deadly, the old poop-hand trick. I'm practically bursting with pride, thinking I taught her that. I created a monster. But then she says a punch in the mouth, bang, caught me completely off guard, I swear. I made a face like a basset hound that just got handed a lemon, and the two of them just lost it, rolling on the floor, laughing harder than hyenas at a tickle fight, until they realized I wasn't laughing. See, my girls, they got a sick sense of humor. I'm talking Dark Ages level of twisted. It's like they're being raised by a pack of raccoons who moonlight as stand-up comedians.
All right. So picture this. I'm back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? My Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, he had this pet raccoon named, wait for it, President McKinley. I swear that's what he called him. Anyway, McKinley was a menace. Stole dentures off the porch, chased the neighbor's chihuahua, classic raccoon stuff. But Uncle Bobby, he treated that raccoon like his own flesh and blood, even tried to get him a little coonskin hat for Christmas. Didn't go well. Raccoon bit him. So there I was, 7 years old, watching Uncle Bobby wrestle a raccoon while trying to put a hat on him. And I thought, man, this is love. This is true, unadulterated love. Lucy, Kukshan Trichiljo Frenol Free API.